All right. Welcome to ABL Live. My name is Anthony Brian Logan. Thank you for joining me tonight. I appreciate all of you for being here. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're right here with me on the show. We got a lot going on. It's a lot to discuss. Bob Mueller, what's going on with him? Are we going to get impeachment from the Democrats? Are they going to just ruin themselves like that? Now, the rational side of me would say no, because they wouldn't, hurt themselves. But, some people don't think. They just, they'll cut the nose, fight their face, quite literally. So I wouldn't be surprised if they did that. I'm seeing this hashtag on Twitter talking about hashtag impeach Donald Trump now. And I think there'll be some politicians up under that giving their 2 cents about the whole situation. Also, the border wall in El Paso, funded by GoFundMe on private land. I have an update about this. I'll probably do a video tomorrow, because you have the mayor of that particular area trying to hate on them, trying to stop it. It's like 80% done, and they're trying to stop it. Talking about, you're breaking city ordinance. You can't have a fence over 6 foot tall. Okay, we'll see about that. Also, the MLK allegations. Will there be anything that comes as a result of this? Who knows? Clarence Thomas scathing report, 20-page opinion about the Indiana abortion law, which should be ruled on very soon by the Supreme Court. There's a lot more topics to discuss. We're going to get into everything in just a little bit. So thank y'all for joining. My time to go live is right now. That's my cue. Thank y'all for being here. Again, you could be anywhere in the good old US of A, but you're right here with me on ABL Live, and I really appreciate that. We got a lot going on, and shout out to everybody in the chat. You guys are great. What's going on? Now, Bob Mueller, whatever his name is. Yeah, you can't build a wall around the mountain. That's why the wall is going to be adjacent to the mountain, but not, it'll just be right next to it. All right. Oh, creepy Uncle Joe. Like tomorrow, I'm already giving you a preview. Did you see Joe Biden, touching on a little girl, talking about, oh, you look so good. And, just 1 month ago, he was like, I'm going to respect women's spaces, and I'm not going to be so touchy, feely, this, that, and the third. Here he is again doing the exact same things he had done before he made that statement. Okay, I'm going to do better. Do you trust a 76-year-old man who'll be 77 this year to change the way he acts? I mean, come on. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. If he's been like that his whole life, he ain't going to change. So that is the top guy, the front runner for the Democratic Party. I think Joe Biden as a candidate is worse than Hillary Clinton. And how are you going to win like that? Trump was a guy that was not in office. He was just a celebrity on the street. He becomes president. Now, the incumbent almost never loses. If you beat this established person in Hillary Clinton, who was better than the current candidate for the Democratic side, how are you going to lose as the incumbent to the worst person? This guy, I mean, there are so many things you can attack Joe Biden on. Trump, he can just go on stage and say, he wrote the crime bill, he endorsed it, he locked your grandma up, your daddy up, your auntie, your uncle, your brother, he locked all your people up, and I am here to get them out of jail. I'm here to reverse the 94 crime bill that Joe Biden drafted. Not only did Joe Biden draft the 94 crime bill, he also said that he wasn't even sorry. He's like, yeah, I wrote it, and what? Do something. Like challenging the Democrats to do something about it. And they're not. They're just trying to, beat around the bush, pretend like it's not really a real thing. Okay. But back to what he did, you talking about, oh, you look so good and you touching him. He can't change the way he is. So Joe Biden versus Donald Trump, that's going to be, it's almost like taking candy from a baby. It's almost unfair, but hey, it ain't no such thing as fair in a fight, because a fight that you win is fair, and that's pretty much what that is. All right. Exactly, Uncle Reggie. Creepy Joe sniffing hair again. 100%. 1,000%. Biden was in Texas. Okay. Yeah, the glare. Sorry about the glare. No, we tried to actually make these flags with a matte finish so the glare would be reduced. But, this light right here, which you can't see off camera, is causing a glare. But if I turn that off, then you're not going to be able to really see my face right because it's casting on my face also in the back. The glare looks better when I have daylight coming in because it offsets some of that unnatural light. But what about Bob Mueller? This guy's talking about, oh, well, we can't really determine if he didn't commit a crime. What? If you cannot determine that he did not commit a crime, then you can't determine that he did either. If you can determine that he committed a crime, you would have said, okay, we think he committed a crime or he did commit a crime. And you would recommend some kind of indictment or some kind of criminal charges or something. If he didn't commit a crime, then you're not going to say he did. You may say there could be some evidence there that may look kind of fishy, but you can't actually indict him. If there's not enough evidence to charge somebody, how are you going to charge them? I mean, maybe you could with no evidence, but what's the purpose in doing that when you know you're going to lose? I would not want to go into a case knowing that I'm going to lose. And if you do decide to charge him, which is against a long-standing practice of not charging a sitting president, how are you going to win that case when you know you have no evidence? So you're just going to buck this long tradition of not impeaching presidents with no evidence. I mean, at that point, it'll be witch hunt confirmed. So what is he even talking about? Why would he get on TV and say that? Maybe, like I said in my video, he's trying to tell the Democrats, I want you to go out there and impeach him. I'm not going to impeach him. I'm not going to recommend you impeach him. Well, as Bob Mueller, you can't impeach no way. He won't recommend impeachment, but he'll say, you go out there and you impeach him. You do something about it. And you got Cory Booker, Kamala Harris, and others taking debate, talking about we should impeach him now. It's a hashtag on Twitter talking about hashtag impeach Donald Trump now. But how are you going to be able to do that with no evidence? What's the crime that you would get him indicted on if you were to indict him? Obstruction of justice, how? You going to talk about him being on Twitter as obstruction of justice? Really? Is that going to be your airtight case to get Donald Trump out of there? Come on, be for real. You're going to try to indict a sitting president on tweets? You would get laughed out of the courtroom. It would never happen. That's frivolous at best. A witch hunt at worst, but frivolous at best. There's no way you'd be able to get that through. You couldn't even get that through with a random dude on the street fighting a murder beef. You couldn't even, well, maybe that kind of person if you don't got no lawyer, but still, Donald Trump, no, come on, be for real. Tweets is what we're going to talk about. Shout out to David Hernandez. I thank you for that. Thank you to Peter McGuire. I thank y'all for that. Glad you guys are enjoying the show. Zakaria is a troll. I can't really read the chat, so I don't know what's going on. Let me see. Now, we'll see what happens as far as any kind of impeachment goes. We'll see what the result is going to be of that. I can't wait to see how the Democrats respond. If they decide to go impeachment, that's going to totally ruin them. You already got a weak candidate in there for the president and Joe Biden. And even if it's not Joe Biden, they're all weak. Joe Biden is the strongest out of the weak. You understand? Bernie Sanders is old as dirt. If he was to be elected, Bernie Sanders, he would be 80 years old in his first year of office. 80 years old. He's way too old. I'm not against the elderly, but come on, you're trying to be the president. I mean, Trump is about as old as you're going to be able to get and still become the president. So if you have a person that's like almost 10 years older than him, I mean, what are we doing? That's not really going to work out too well. Let me see. Okay, we got some trolls. Okay, no. I think Mohammed Zakaria can go ahead and call in. He says that Trump wants war with Iran. He is a globalist and he admits it. Well, I mean, he's saying that he wants peace. Hillary Clinton said that if she were to be elected, that she would attack Iran immediately. Did Donald Trump say that? So if you're talking about who should I have voted for, Hillary versus Donald Trump, I think the case is clear for Trump. Trump wants to have peace. If Iran is a power overseas that is endangering U.S. interests, all we got to do is protect our interests. We're not trying to go to war with them. But if they want to fight, then we got to defend ourselves. If they want to attack our interests, we got to defend our interests. But we're not trying to go over there and start no wars. But Hillary Clinton said, if I were to become president, I would attack Iran immediately. So who's the warmonger and who isn't? Who's a globalist and who isn't? I've not seen any more wars be started under Trump. I mean, if I'm wrong, let me know. But I've not seen any more wars started under Trump. People talking about, Tulsi Gabbard, please. Tulsi Gabbard does not have enough juice to be able to do what she wants. She could say, oh, I don't want to start any wars. But then when she gets some directives from the higher ups, what's she going to do to really stop it? So it'd be a broken campaign promise, talking about, well, we ain't had no choice. We had interest to protect, all this and that. That'd be her excuse for going in and invading. I'll be taking calls in a moment, David. Give me about 20 minutes. Because what I do right now, I just kind of start off my stream with a little soliloquy, so to speak, and then I take my calls and we do it like that. So if anybody wants to call in, give me about 20 minutes and I'll have you on the line. Okay, you said he destroyed the Iran deal and sent troops in the Gulf. When have troops not been in the Gulf? The Iran deal, I mean, what kind of deal was that? If you still got Iran sending out terrorists to fight our interests and fight allies in the Middle East, then what are we really doing? I mean, come on. If they're still sponsoring terrorism, why would you give them money? Why would you give Iran money to sponsor terrorism? That's like if you have a known bomb maker, you're going to send him the materials to make bombs? For what? What's the purpose of doing that? It don't make no sense. I think the best thing to do would be to just back off Iran and just let them do them and not be interfering. If they want to fight, then we're going to defend ourselves. We're not going to strike first. That's like the old, way of doing things. If you were a regular guy on the street, I'm not going to pick a fight with nobody. But if you touch me, then all bets are off. And in my mind, a fair fight is a fight you win. I'm going to grab whatever I can in my immediate surroundings to defeat you. But I'm a peaceful guy. I'm not going to start a fight. I'm all about peace and love. But if you touch me, then now my brain just switches into something else. That's how that works. So I think that should be how we approach anything and everything in the world. Let me see. So shout out to everybody in the room. We got 221 live in the building. What else we got on the docket? We got, the MLK allegations. Are you guys surprised about that? Martin Luther King talking about he had affairs with like 40 to 45 different women. And they said that he witnessed a rape. Like he was right there witnessing it, egging it on, cheering it on. I've not heard about that rape thing until I did the video a couple of days ago. That was news to me. But I thought that it was common knowledge that he was a philanderer. I thought that everybody knew that. He would never really be home because he'd be always on the road from hotel to hotel. He got shot in the hotel. Okay, he wasn't at home. He lived in, I think, ATL? He got shot in Memphis. What were you doing in the hotel in Memphis? Were you just, visiting, just doing, what were you doing there? But anyway, from hotel to hotel, he would go and have these affairs, orgies and all that. Everybody, I thought that was common knowledge. And also about, Malcolm X. I mean, the thing that everybody knew was that he was Detroit Red. He was a pimp. He was involved with that game before he fell in the Nation of Islam. When he went to jail, that's when he got converted. And when he came home, he was with Elijah Muhammad, Farrakhan, young Farrakhan, all those guys. He was rolling with them. He gets kicked out, and then he dies at the hands of somebody. I don't know. Maybe it was two black men from the Nation of Islam, but I digress. I thought it was also known that he was a homosexual and had sex with men for money. I thought everybody knew that, but maybe it was just me. I know that everybody knew that he had the past before as far as being in the pimp game, but he also had a different life. Now, I'm not going to judge a man for doing that. I would do nothing like that, obviously, but I'm not going to judge him. I think if you had a positive impact on the nation, then that's what we focus on. The extracurricular things we can look at as bad. But what are you going to do now about MLK? Like, let's say he witnessed a rape. What happens now? I mean, you can't dig him up and lock him up. He's already dead. He got shot when he was like, what, in his 30s or 40s? So what you going to do now, 50 years later? Same thing with Malcolm. What you going to do now? We can say that it was bad if what was said is true. And then the thing about it is he's not even here to defend himself. And where's the actual victim, the alleged victim, to say what happened? We just got allegations, so we don't know what's going on. But I want to see how the left handles this. If the left comes out and says we got to remove the MLK monuments from inner cities all over the nation, we got to rename streets to have MLK on it and Malcolm X on it, like in Harlem, New York, Norfolk, Virginia, a lot of these chocolate cities, that's going to be a problem. That's going to be a big problem. And I think that they're not going to do it, which will reveal hypocrisy. You'll say that, oh, you got to get rid of Nathan Bedford Forrest because of the Klan, all this, that, and the third, even though I think he ended the Klan or first wave of it. So you got to get rid of him, or you got to get rid of Robert E. Lee because he was a Confederate general, although he was conscripted into war, if I'm not mistaken, and only picked the Confederacy because he was from Virginia and could not fight against his own state because he was originally slated to be the Union general. Even though those facts are true, you say, get rid of their monuments, dig up their body, throw them away somewhere else. We don't want them here. So it'll just show you the hypocrisy that goes on the left. They have selective targeting of potential people that they want to get rid of. But if they attack everybody, now you're going to offend a lot of people that probably should not be offended. The Democrat Party is trying to keep on lock the black vote. If the black vote goes below 85%, with Hillary, it got dangerously low, 89% for Hillary Clinton or 88%. If it goes below 85% or even worse, 80%, you would see the Democrats be totally finished on a national level. Local level, yeah, they could still win. Presidency, it'll be done. Pardon me for a moment. I said, pardon me for a moment. I had to sneeze. Yeah, True Seeker, it's crazy. You know, the thing about Malcolm X being gay, that was revealed by his biographer, who was a black male. And he eventually, he passed away probably a few years ago, but that was a piece of information that was revealed. They interviewed Malcolm X's daughter and asked her about that. And she kind of like didn't answer the question, talking about, well, it's more about his character, this, that, and the third. So I think that they know, but they, like she said, want to focus on what he did in his character and not his personal indiscretions. So, I mean, it is what it is. The provable allegations of plagiarism of MLK. Well, I don't know anything about that. So I don't know what's going on. You have to educate me about that. So I don't know. All I know is about the affairs and what was said recently about him, about witnessing the rape, an allegation that has not been proven. Let me see. Nolo King says, fighting the man is so much more exciting. Unfortunately, it sucks to sit down and realize you are the cause of your failure. That's right. Which interview with this? I'm not really sure the exact interview, but if you can find his daughter talking about him, you may see it. Oh, also the fact that Louis Farrakhan allegedly had something to do with Malcolm X being killed. That's something that's been out there for a minute. Talking about he was a traitor and what do you do with traitors? It's all kind of stuff that goes on. Are we just going to look at the past and dig up all those old things and judge them based on that? Also, what else we got? Oh, Clarence Thomas. Shout out to my man, Clarence Thomas, writing a 20-page scathing Supreme Court opinion about abortion and eugenics. I say all the time about eugenics. Margaret Sanger was a eugenicist. The purpose of Planned Parenthood before it started was, well, before it became Planned Parenthood, was to be a eugenics place, to breed the most desirable people. Margaret Sanger did not like blacks or Asians or Jews. Talking about we're useless eaters, human weeds. She wanted the best of the best. The Nazis did the exact same thing that she did. There was a rumor about them meeting. I don't know if that's true. It doesn't even really matter because they did the same things that she did. They wanted to preserve the white Aryan race, blonde hair, blue eye. So if you had any kind of imperfection, any kind of disability, the wrong color, hair, eye, whatever, you can get killed before birth or after. So they practiced eugenics, and then the whole world saw the atrocities of the Holocaust and all that kind of stuff. So that let people know what it was all about, what the end game would be for eugenics. So people kind of backed off of it. So Margaret Sanger eventually changed the name of her spot to Planned Parenthood. And then it became all about abortion. Here comes Roe v. Wade, 1973. Abortion is legal. Now you've had at least 20 million black babies been aborted since then. Okay. So what he said was correct, especially about disabilities. In Iceland, they test all mothers before the baby is born for Down syndrome. If a baby has Down syndrome in Iceland, it's aborted immediately. They say in Iceland that there are no babies born with Down syndrome because they're all aborted. So that right there is plain eugenics. That's what Clarence Thomas was talking about. Matter of fact, in the Indiana law, it specifically mentions Down syndrome. Part of the law that was signed into law, which is now being challenged, says you cannot kill a baby or quote unquote have an abortion due to the baby having Down syndrome. That's what they do in Iceland. Some would say, oh, this is, he's a right-wing nut job. That'll never happen. Yes, it does happen. In China, it's a big thing going on with eugenics because they want less girls being born due to the one-child policy. They want the male to carry on the name. Now, the whole one-child thing is not all over the nation, but it's in a big part of the nation, probably like half of the nation. You can only have one child. You can have two in some places, but I think 50% or more, a little less, you can only have one child. So they want boys. So if there's a girl, they just abort the baby before it's born, or they kill the baby after it's born. What your man say? Post-birth abortion, which ain't nothing but just infanticide, but it is what it is. So Clarence Thomas, shout out to him. Hopefully he gets to rule on Roe v. Wade before he retires. That's what I want to see. Rule on Roe v. Wade. Go ahead and repeal that and have it go back to the states. If it were me, I would say ban abortion nationwide. No abortion at all. Just, but a compromise would be let it be up to the states and have them handle it. So that's where I stand on that. We got a lot of things going on today. It's a whole lot happening. Both Hillary and Trump are evil. That's the cop out right there. When you don't want to pick a side, and the thing about it is you got to pick sides at a certain point in time because these issues, it's really a yay or nay. Are you with it or not? You can't just be like in the middle. If you in the middle, then it's like you don't really matter because you're not making a decision. You got to stand on something. You can't just be like, oh, they both evil. No. Let me see. There you go. Prophecy of Jerry Wynn Ball says, I'm against eugenics. I feel for my unborn brothers and sisters. I am pro-life now, thanks to God. There you go. That's what I like to hear. Absolutely. Miriam Vidal says, amen. No abortions nationwide is okay with me. I'm right there with you. That's what I would like to see. That's what I would want for myself. But, you can't always get what you want, unfortunately. Nolo King says, how about Ilhan Omar having to delete a tweet implying that merit-based immigration is racist? Yeah, I saw that. And Ted Cruz got on there talking about, you think that Latinos are too dumb to be able to, do the merit-based immigration? Like, we don't have anything to offer? You got plenty of people all over the world that want to come to this country. They have a lot to bring to the country. It don't matter where you come from. You got skilled people, educated people, good people. We should have more of them rather than just any old Tom, Dick, and Harry. Rather than just some random person who can't speak English at all, that has no skills, that's going to rely on the government to take care of them. Why do we need more of that? We're trying to reduce the government dependency in this country, not increase it with people that are going to need constant care from cradle to grave. Why would you want to have that in your country? Let their countries where they come from take care of that. We should not be the police of the world or the daycare of the world. Take care of your own kids. How about that? And your own adults too. And take them drugs with you. Yeah, now the wall, that's right, friends. The wall is also being built by private individuals. Now the mayor of that particular city or county, whatever, is trying to block it in New Mexico. talking about you can't have a fence above 6 feet tall according to a city ordinance, but the people building the wall saying that they've abided by all the regulations. They've had people from the city officials come down there and inspect this site, and it's been all good. And they're about 80% done, so they got to stop right now. But hopefully they'll be able to get past it and keep rocking forward. I'll get to the calls in about 6 minutes, Christian Jr. All right. Shout out to SOBC. Thank you for joining. Shout out to Don't Get It Twisted. Now, what else I got going on? There's a whole lot of stuff happening. It's just so much stuff. I'll be forgetting sometimes what's really happening. But Bob Mueller, back to him. This whole thing is over. He says that he's going to go back to his regular life. He's going to close down the office. It's over. It's done. There's no more to discuss. So I'm not really sure what the Democrats are going to want from him going forward. They can't get anything from him. He's not going to speak before Congress. Ain't going to be no dog and pony show with him being in his chair for like 8 hours, being asked a bunch of dumb questions. That ain't going to happen. He's going to go back to the crib, kick his feet up, have him a cold one, and be done with it. So all they can do from here is either impeach or not. And if they're not going to impeach, then get off the pot. In 2020, you're going to have so many things happening. The debates are going to be happening. You're going to have a lot of people's past being brought up to haunt them, namely Joe Biden. If you have Kamala Harris in there, her name is going to get brought up in some really weird things. Cory Booker, Bernie Sanders, the list goes on. So you don't need this kind of controversy on your head while you're trying to deal with all the other stuff you're going to have going on as it relates to the election, all your people getting their stuff put out on Front Street. You don't need the impeachment stuff over your head as well. Newt Gingrich and Republicans did that back in the 90s with Slick Willie, and it backfired. A lot of guys on the right lost their seats back then because of the whole Slick Willie situation, and there was much more evidence against Slick Willie. Ken Starr in his report said guilty 11 times. There was no word of guilty at all in the Mueller report. Even with all that information, all that evidence against Slick Willie, he was never indicted and he was not removed from office, although he was impeached. So if they want to ruin their own chances for 2020, they can do so. I'm glad to see them actually have that happen. But I don't understand why they would do that. Let me see. Okay, hold on. I see a comment in here I want to talk about right quick. Wait a minute. Cindy Ben says, I am so sick of you pro-life people who just take things too far. You think that anybody else is a baby killer. Well, I mean, if you kill a baby, then what are you called? Cindy Ben, at what point does a baby become a baby? And why? If the point is 21 weeks, why not 20 weeks, 6 days? How is it not a baby at 20 weeks, 6 days, but it is at 21 weeks? I mean, just explain to me how that really works. I don't understand. I mean, let's just talk about it. Let's just make a little bit of a sense here. Matter of fact, I'm going to open the phone lines because I see some people in the chat that disagree. They say that, Trump is evil and what else? That killing a baby is not killing a baby, or killing a baby at a certain point does not count because it's not a baby. I don't understand. Okay, Sai, I can't believe this. This is Cindy Ben. Sai, I can't believe this. Again, I'm just saying that there may be horrific reasons a woman or a girl may have to consider abortion. Well, what are the reasons? What are the reasons? I mean, the only thing that it could be is life of the mother. And you are killing the baby at that point, but at that point it makes sense because either you're going to die or the mother's going to die. If that's the reason, then I understand. But what else could be the reason why you want to kill a baby? I mean, can't you see my point? Are you going to force an 11-year-old girl to carry her incest baby and give birth? Well, hey, it doesn't matter why. It doesn't matter how somebody got pregnant. The fact is, it's a baby. Now, what you do is you punish the rapist but you don't punish the innocent child. All right, it's that simple. If you have a man that rapes a little girl, I say give him the death penalty, put him in jail forever, do something. If it were me, I would torture the dude. If I could do that, if it were legal, wink wink, I would do that. But you don't punish the baby for what this man did. The baby is innocent. So it is what it is. You can't say, oh, because the baby was produced by some horrific act, that it's not a human being still, that it does not deserve life. So it is what it is. Either it's a baby or not. If it's a baby, then you're killing the baby. You can say that it was a forceful conception. It was a horrific act. But I know people right now that have been born through rape. So are you going to go to them and say, hey, you shouldn't have been born? You should have been aborted? I know a girl I went to school with that was product of a rape when the mom was a teenager. I think it might have been a family member that raped her mother and had her. So do I tell her, hey, you shouldn't be here? You don't deserve life? It is what it is. But we'll get to the calls in just a moment. Thank y'all for joining. I'm glad you're here. If you've not done so already, please give me a thumbs up on the video. I'd greatly appreciate it. And shout out to all the super chatters already. You guys have been great. Hold on. Let me check you guys out before I get to the calls. Let me see. YouTube.com super chat. All right. Let me see. We have, thank you to Jess for your donation. Definitely appreciate it. Thank you to Mike from Queens who says, stupid Democrats are still talking impeachment. That's right. They're going to keep talking about that until they can't anymore because they're not going to be able to do it. They'll probably say that until the end of the second term. They'll still be talking about it in 2024 when he's already in the serve 8 years. And thank you to the prophecy of Jehu and Ball for the donation. Definitely appreciate you, boss. All righty. So let's get to the calls. The number to call is 434-658-1220. If you want to call in through Skype, there is an email for that in the description box below. All right, let me turn off my desktop audio so I don't have no crazy stuff happening. Let me see. All righty. Now, all righty, Sweet Speaks, what's going on?
Oh, there's a lot going on. We had the elections to the European Parliament.
Yeah, I've been watching that. Like, what's going on with that whole situation?
Well, in at least a fair amount of countries, you have what you might call the right-wing populists, the new right, getting great numbers. Not in every country, of course, but for instance, you have in the UK, you got the Brexit party. I'm not really a fan, but I see I see why they get their votes. They got more votes for that one party than Tory and Labour combined, and that tells us something.
That's big. Actually, that's very big.
Yeah, actually, the Green Party in the UK got more votes than the Tories, so the Tories are pretty much done right now. People are really done with that. They're not able to handle Brexit or anything.
Yeah, I mean, you see people just making their voices be heard. They're frustrated about Brexit. It's not going right. It's been years now since they said that they were going to leave the European Union. They've not done so. So, okay, let's go somewhere else and try something else. So people are just letting their voice be heard, and I'm glad they're doing it.
Yeah, I'm happy they do that. I think people should have voted for UKIP instead, but hey, you can't get everything.
Right.
I mean, then you have these countries like Hungary, the coalition the Orban's coalition. There are two parties, but they're both pretty much national conservative, Christian Democrat. They have 52%. In Italy, Salvini's party got 34% and his coalition party got 17%. You have the same thing if you look at Austria and in a lot of countries. Even in Sweden, the tide is turning slowly towards more of the right-wing alternatives. So I think we're seeing something happening in Europe, and it's not overnight, but it's like a tendency that we're seeing just going in a specific direction.
Well, I'm glad to see it because, I'm seeing videos from Europe. Like I saw the Muslims out there, really celebrating the Ramadan in Rome right in front of so I'm like, okay, this has got to stop. It's kind of got to go to other direction. So I'm glad that there's a big movement across Europe to go in the other direction to get more back to what Europe's supposed to be.
Yeah. So I would go for abolish the EU, but first of all, if you can get it down to just free movement of people, services, and businesses, I mean, what it was supposed to be about, okay, you can try to make this thing smaller at least, but I would prefer if you just have free trade agreements between independent countries. That's where I would like them to go. And if Brexit goes through, you could start talking about Italy might want to leave. There are even people in Germany who wants to leave. Of course, not Merkel, but they can inspire people in other countries too.
So, do you think that the European Union should be? Do you think it will be eliminated in our lifetime?
It could be. I mean, either it is, or it's the Roman Empire being born again is in Revelation. So I don't know where I stand on that one, but I would like for it to disappear.
Now, it could be reborn. Talking about the Holy Roman Empire, that could happen because you're starting to see some alliances kind of be born a little bit. I saw one photo that was pretty interesting. I think it was some guys that were at the border of Italy at the north. I think
Right.
you have Austria, Italy, maybe even
France too.
Yeah.
France too.
Yeah, and they're kind of all like together working on stuff, and they look like the same kind of people. So it was like, okay, I could see this thing starting again.
Yeah. The thing is, Salvini, he kind of got started this new group in European Parliament, and he wants to work with what you might call the national conservative or populist parties, the party who wants to bring power back to the nation state, who wants European borders to be secure and every country to decide their own migration policies. Like Poland, for instance, they did really great.
Oh yeah, and, definitely, they're doing fantastic.
Yeah, and even in France, Le Pen's new party, the National Rally, they got like 32% or something like that. And that might not sound like a lot, but Macron's coalition got 24 or something like that. So, yeah. And I mean, Le Pen's not my favorite. I think she's way too left when it comes to fiscal policies. But at least she understands Islam. She knows it's not a good idea. It's not something you want more of in Europe. So I'm like, okay, she might not understand economics, but she understands the big issue on the European level right now. And I'll go with that.
Right. I mean, you can't always get everything you want. At least you have some things that make sense. You may have some views you disagree with, but if she can have more that you're with than against, then I think it just makes sense. You need to have more of that in European politics for sure.
Yeah. So absolutely, I think this is great. We'll see what happens in the upcoming elections. Denmark's going to vote next week, I think, and that could be interesting. And then the UK, you never know. May's resigning, and you'll have this leadership thing going on. Maybe they'll have to call for snap elections in some countries too, due to these results.
Oh yeah, that's going to be interesting to see what the result is going to be of all these changes. Are there going to be anybody trying to fight it? What's going to happen? And in UK, they're talking about having Boris Johnson come in for Theresa May. I guess for now, but there's got to be an election at some point. So I'm not really sure who's going to take it. You're talking about the Brexit party. I mean, it could be anybody really.
Yeah. So I heard that you were talking about abortion, and you're absolutely right about this with Down syndrome in Iceland. You know they do the same stuff in Denmark, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah. In Denmark, the government, the government gives this offer to all pregnant women to have their, what do you call it? They check the water. I'm not sure. Yeah, they have the scanning, you know.
Oh, you're talking about the ultrasound.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so they can see if there's quote unquote anything wrong with the kid. I mean, if it's got Down syndrome or whatever. So there are almost no kids born with Down syndrome in Denmark either. And in Norway they got what they call the twin abortions.
Twin abortions?
Yeah, and what it means is that if you become pregnant with twins, you can decide to abort one of the twins and keep the other one. And I have read somewhere that actually twins who grow up without their twin, I mean, even if nobody told them that you were supposed to have a twin brother or a twin sister, they still feel some kind of loss. So somewhere in their system, they still have this feeling of loss, like their system knows there should have been another one too.
Yeah, of course. That's crazy to say that you can kill one of the babies to keep, like, that's absurd. That's
Yeah.
wild. And I know twins, and they have some kind of just connection between them you can't really explain. So yeah, you definitely would know. Just like you see these specials on TV where people get connected to their twin that they haven't seen in a long time. They know that there's somebody else out there. They can feel it. They know it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really a crazy practice to do.
Yeah, but if you ask me, like you said, if the mother's life is in danger, okay, that's
Yeah.
about it. Because if you're going to discuss where should you set the limit, should you put it at 18 weeks like in Sweden? Should you put it right up until birth, or even after birth, like is it in New York? Should it be 12 weeks? Should it be 5 weeks? How are you going to make a decision when it turns into a baby? You can't make this decision based on anything else than your opinions.
That's right. That's what I was about, because I always ask the question, when is a baby a baby? I always ask that, and I always get these weird answers. People try to dodge the question, but you got to be able to understand when a baby is a baby, because if you know a child is there, abortion is simply killing the child. It's very simple. So people just can't answer that question, but at the same time, they are so convinced that abortion is an okay thing to do. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I think there are two things. First of all, I think conception is the only logical position. And second, actually abortion, this free-for-all abortion paid by the government or sponsored by Planned Parenthood or however you do it, it actually gives guys a free pass too. It tells men that you can sleep around, and if the woman gets pregnant, just tell her to have an abortion, and you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to take any responsibility for your decisions, what you do in your life.
Right.
I mean, I've seen a lot of it in Scandinavia too. So, I mean, it's just, I don't know if I should go there, but I think actually the basic of this is godlessness.
Oh, 100%. 100%. If there was God anywhere involved, you would know that what you're doing is wrong. I mean, the baby
Yeah, so
it's an innocent baby. You're destroying the baby.
yeah, I think it's mankind trying to play God pretty much, and we want to decide of life and death. And you got the other side of this coin too, and that's euthanasia, which is coming in countries. I read that in Belgium, people are pressured into euthanasia because they feel they're a burden to their relatives or whatever.
Yeah, they have that. They call it assisted suicide. It's euthanasia,
Yeah,
really.
exactly.
But they don't want to call it euthanasia because that's how you kill dogs. You euthanize dogs. So they don't want to say what it actually is, but it's the same thing. There's really no difference. So yeah, I've been seeing that happen a lot, and they kind of promote it on television here. And they talk about they have like a sad picture of somebody in an old folks home or something, and
Yeah,
it's like I don't want to be a burden. It's crazy.
yeah. So, do you have time for how to get woke and go broke in Norway?
Oh yeah, sure.
Coca-Cola company in Norway. They launched these new Coca-Cola bottles when Ramadan started. So some of the Coca-Cola bottles in Norway now have the Islamic crescent on them.
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm not done yet. Then they put up one of these Coca-Cola, like things you go there, you put in your card and you buy a Coke or a Fanta or whatever. They put up one of these automats or kiosks, and it's closed until sunset. So you get there and it says it's now 1 hour and 15 minutes and so many seconds left until we can open because Ramadan, this machine is fasting. And I'm like, okay, these are small isolated events, but if you look at the totality of it, every little thing we do where we say that's not a big deal. We got these Muslims here, and we gotta make life easier for them. So we should be tolerant and all of that stuff. Do they ever put the Star of David on a Coke bottle or a cross? I mean,
never, ever. If they were to do that, then that'd be considered, catering to religious extremists, and it's not okay, and all this and that. But you can put the crescent or the Coca. Like I'm looking at it right now on the it's like the Coke's Instagram. and it's in Danish. Was it Danish or Denmark?
That was in Norway.
It's Norway. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if they did that in Denmark, but I know this story blew up the last 2 days in Norway. So I gotta have to do something about that tomorrow, I think. I was reading through the comments and someone actually said, so are you going to put the cross on Coke bottles in Saudi Arabia during Easter?
That's what I want to see. If they do that, then there may be some kind of Allah Akbar style attack going on. So I think they'll reserve that one for the drawing board and not let it go anywhere else.
Yeah. So in the beginning of next week, I'm actually going to Kiev in Ukraine, and I'll be there for a while.
Okay, what's going on in Kiev?
Oh, actually, I just need to change locations because I miss staying in different Airbnbs, and it's kind of the logistics of it. And then I'm like, maybe I should go somewhere else. I was looking around like, okay, I can go down to Ukraine and stay there for a while.
Okay, well, hey, hopefully everything's good down there. You can enjoy it.
Yeah, and I'll just pray and wait for my visa.
Yes, definitely. Hopefully you get that visa to come to the USA soon. You deserve it rather than the illegals crossing over here and these big hordes of humans.
Right, yeah, because I could have just stayed last time I was in America, and it probably would have worked out just fine. I mean, in theory. But of course, first of all, I would be breaking the law. And second of all, if I would have gotten caught, then I would have gotten deported for 10 years or for life or something. So,
right.
I mean, I don't believe in breaking laws, even when I think, okay, bureaucracy could be a little faster. But yeah, I'm just saying, I see why a lot of people are trying to just not work with the system. And also, this immigration thing. I mean, I'm a spouse. We're not talking about cousins or uncles or grown children or something like that.
That's
but the
right.
thing is, all these cases end up in the same pile, and that makes things go a lot slower. And I've been told that things used to work fine, and then Bill Clinton came into power, and also he tried to turn this into a money-making machine. So things just stopped and got real slow. That's what I've been told.
I got you, man. Well, I got a lot of calls on the line, so I thank you for the call as always, man. I definitely appreciate you.
Absolutely, and thanks for taking my call.
Oh, no problem. I'll put your website, asweetspeaks.com, in the box. So if anybody wants to get in contact with you, they got you right there.
That's great, and have a good evening.
All right, now same to you.
Yeah, bye.
All right, thank you to Sweet Speaks for the call. Most certainly appreciate them. And hopefully you guys don't hear the ring. Let me stop it right there. There we go. The number to call is 434-658-1220. Alrighty, caller 347, you're on the line.
I'm Joshua.
All right, Joshua, what's happening?
What's happening with you two agents are loading?
Everything's good, man. Your phone is really low. It's hard to hear you, boss.
Huh?
So your phone is low. No, you're good. You're good now. You're good. Don't even worry about it. You're good.
All right. I want to talk about the wall that's happened in El Paso, Texas.
All right.
To me, this is a great thing for us because since before the wall there was like no wall, there was just like mountains because the military doesn't believe that there shouldn't be a wall because of the environment, but they put in the wall for 3 days already. 3 days because of crowdfunding. Not because of our government, because of crowdfunding. Because of us. And to me, that's damn good.
Yeah, I mean, it got built pretty quickly. And it got built for a low amount of money as well, because one thing about the wall is that it didn't cost that much. The government was talking about $22 million per mile, and they were able to complete roughly a half mile or a little bit more for less than half of that, which means that they're cheaper and they're more efficient. And the steel and is also better materials, better steel. So maybe that should be the way going forward. Let's get a little bit more private industry in the wall building business outside of the government's peer view.
Right, absolutely. Like, it's just that, like, the government, mainly the neocons and the Democrats, don't care about Americans. They care about themselves and money. That's why they want more power. That's why they want to turn the voting age to 18 to 16 years old because they know what they're doing. They want more votes.
Right, I'm with you.
And and it just shows that we don't need the government sometimes. We need ourselves. Like, that's libertarianism in a nutshell.
100%, absolutely.
Yeah, and another thing I really want to talk about is today I wear my red MAGA hat today because I went to work today.
Okay, so you're in New York. So for those that don't know, how did that go for
New
you?
York City, not the state of New York.
Yeah, you're in New York City, in the city. So how did that go for you?
I did get some good compliments from my co-workers though, but on the other hand, I got some weird looks. Like one black guy was looking at me like with earplugs and like this, and I was like, what the hell? It's creepy. It's creepy.
Yeah, I mean,
creepy.
I get those same kind of looks as well. Sometimes when I wear my hat, like I told you, I was in New York, I was in the airport, and I was getting these weird looks. I didn't even know what was going on. I wasn't thinking. I got a MAGA hat on. I forgot. And the looks I was getting was just like concern from the white liberals. They were looking at me like,
and the black liberals as well.
Yeah, but I didn't get it from them for some reason. They didn't really look at me. It was like I noticed it was two white liberals that had on like all black. They looked like they were artists. Like if they go, like they probably paint puppy dog pictures for a living. That's what it looked like. But anyway, they gave me this really sad face, like it just died or something. And I was like, what's going on? Like, is something on my face? But then I realized, okay, I got a MAGA hat on. So that was interesting.
Yeah, one black woman that questioned me that was America always great? And I answered him, yes, it was always great. Because this country is the best country in the world. Because our Bill of Rights, we have amendments in our law. And also, each state is different. They don't want the same thing besides our main government and the President of the United States. So, and we have freedom of speech in the world, unlike other countries. That's why we are the best country in the world.
That's right. People got to understand that. And the people that say that we're not the best country in the world, I don't see them going anywhere else. They want to stay right here in the good old US of A where things are nice and safe.
Yeah. And one more thing I want to talk about today is that, do you think Donald Trump will get 18 or 22% of the vote, of the black vote in 2020?
I think he'll get up to 20% of the black vote. And to put it in the proper context, Hillary Clinton received
got less black votes than Obama did.
Yeah, of course. And she
nearly
got
100%.
Well, hold on. She got like I think 88% of the black vote. So that's like,
88.
about 12% that did not vote for her. So we can do better than that this year because the reality is Joe Biden is the worst candidate. They're probably going to run him. If they don't run him, they don't have anybody else that has enough name recognition to do better than Joe Biden, and Biden is worse than Hillary. So on the strength of those people being worse than Hillary Clinton and also more support from Donald Trump from especially the black males, you'll see maybe up to 20% of the black vote going to Donald Trump.
Right. Yeah, absolutely, because Obama nearly got 100% of it because he was black.
Yeah, because he was black. Yeah, of course.
Simple and clear. That's our identity politics. It wasn't because of his policies. Heck no. It was because of identity politics.
That's right. That's right. It wasn't about nothing else. It was about because he was black. But I got a lot of calls on the line, boss. So I'm going to get to a few more.
All right. Definitely appreciate it.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Thanks. Peace.
All right. Shout out to the caller, my man Joshua. I appreciate you. And thank you all for joining. The number to call is 434-658-1220. 832, you on the line. Who am I speaking to?
You speaking to Mary in Houston?
All righty, what's going on?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think my Skype messed up. Skype, that wasn't my fault. Mary, if you're listening, I'm sorry. That wasn't me. I'm going to try to get you back on if I can. Okay, let's go. Mike from Queens, what's happening?
What's up, Anthony? How you doing today?
Everything's good, man. Can't complain.
It's good to hear. I tell you, the Democrats, they're really going to push the people, half the country that voted for Trump and people that support him. They're really pushing now people to the breaking point. I mean, this investigation is over. Mueller is closing up the office. He's going back into civilian life. Enough already. End the investigation. But they don't want to stop.
Yeah, they don't want to stop because the whole thing is they've been hitching a lot of what they're doing, the so-called resistance, quote unquote, on the Mueller Report. They've been reporting on it day and night on the cable news media. The people in politics have been talking about it all the time as a reason why Trump should be impeached. And now that it's over, they can't let it go. But they got to let it go at a certain point.
This is just a powder keg. This is just a powder keg waiting to go off. I mean, most people, everyday people, they just want to go to work. They just want to be left alone. They want to they want to support their family, support their friends. And if you keep, it's like a death by. If you keep on edging these people up, people are going to snap. And it's going to be. I mean, I'm not trying to say anything violent or people use violence, but there are going to be people out there that are going to take it to the next level because they're just tired of hearing the nonsense from the other side.
That's right. Exactly.
I mean, the Democrats just seem to be so obsessed with wanting to get back at the Republicans for impeaching Slick Willie. They'll go. They see that this was their chance. Surprised they didn't try to impeach Bush after what happened with Iraq in 2003.
Yeah.
But they saw this as an opening. And it's totally bogus because the way the investigation was, the way they came across the investigation with the Steele dossier, and it was just on a false premise.
Right. I mean, the whole thing was it was bogus. And I'm hearing now that the FBI knew that it was bogus from the beginning, but they just they had something.
An insurance plan.
Right, exactly. That was it. Right. And they used it, and they were thinking, okay, we're going to get him out that way, and it didn't work. So they've tried everything to get Trump out of there. Nothing has worked, and they're just salty about it.
Yeah, well, you know what? If they want to continue to go down this road where they want to have this rhetoric, we're going to impeach him. They're all maniacs. Schiff with them friggin' with those bug eyes. He looks like a mental case. Nadler looks like a toothpick now since he lost all that weight. Fat Nadler, he looks like a toothpick now. He doesn't look healthy. I mean, he just passed out, I think, a week and a half ago.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, hey, man, you got to get your health together. You lost weight. You look less like Peter Griffin now. But but your weight is still an issue, boss. You got to get that tightened up.
Listen, I don't wish anything upon anybody, but you know what? The Lord works in mysterious ways.
That's right.
And maybe that should have been a sign to to him. But hey, I just wanted to ask you, do you know? I don't know if you met him a few months back at the when you guys had the thing at the White House. Did you meet the conservative New York, Christopher Wright?
Yeah, I met him. Yeah, we did a video together and everything.
Yeah, he seems like a real cool guy. He's been doing videos recently where he's been talking to people in Times Square, and Hotep Jesus was with him in Times Square over this past weekend where they were talking to people, and Hotep Jesus got this one woman triggered. I don't know if you saw that video, and she actually knocked the phone out of his hand.
I saw that. That was hilarious because that's what they do when they can't, come with any kind of facts or debate you logically, they resort to violence. That's just the natural thing that happens. That was hilarious.
Yeah, and there's no need for that. The only way, and this is going back on how the country was founded. The only way you're gonna have any kind of dialogue with the other side is you have to sit down like civilized people and have productive conversation.
Right.
Getting emotional and getting your balls twisted is not going to solve anything.
Exactly.
I mean, it's the same thing in Star Trek when Captain Spock would always keep Jim Kirk in check. I think Spock, Captain, your emotions are getting the best of you, and they will be on your undoing.
Exactly. 100%.
I mean, that's basically, yeah. So, all right. I know you got a busy night. I'll keep this short, and I'll talk to you soon. All right.
All right. Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
You got it. Have a good night.
All right. Thank you, Mike from Queens, for the call. As always, definitely appreciate him. And shout out to everybody in the chat. We got 266 live in the building. If you're here for the first time or whatever the case is, give me a like on the video. The likes are free. If you are a brand new viewer, please subscribe to the channel. I promise I got some good content that you'll like if you subscribe. Subscribing is free. Also, please share the video for me. Share it on your mom's Facebook page to get her trigger right quick if you want to do that. If that's fun to you, share it everywhere you can. I'd really appreciate it. But let me get to my next call. Okay, let's go. 210, you know, line. Who am I speaking to?
Brandon from San Antonio.
All righty, Brandon, what's going on?
Nothing much, man. Hey, I tried to call you last week because I had some stuff to talk about with Ginsburg.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it'll be real quick. No, she does everything from home via conference call.
Is that right?
Which I don't understand. Like, if you can't show up for work, then how are you supposed to perform your duties? I mean, are they all sitting at a big, long dais with like a little tiny speaker where her chair is supposed to be?
Yeah, that's pretty weird. And my thing is this. Okay, like if you can't make it in to work at all, like if you just can't come to work, then maybe you should go ahead and retire. You're like 85 years old. What are we really doing? Like, what's going to be the next thing? She's going to be in a hospital bed, like passing away, still going to work that way? Like, come on.
Yeah, it's like a normal job. Like, hey, you can't make it to your shift. Well, somebody else needs to cover your shift.
Yeah. I mean, that too. But also, if you can retire, like, there's no reason for her to actually be there. And the only reason for her to be there in the actual seat is to prevent Trump from appointing a conservative justice to replace her. That's it. You're 85 years old. You can retire. There's no risk of you not having the income anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get it twisted. I want her out like a bad habit,
Yeah.
So. But also to that young man up in NYC for wearing his MAGA hat, good on him, man. Like, I personally don't own one. I actually own two parody hats, just to rabble-rouse the grammar dragons. One of them, I think if Nico is listening, he would enjoy this. There's a death metal band out of Australia called Thy Art Is Murder, and they have a MAGA hat, but it says, "Make deathcore great again." And so when people see it, they automatically assume it's a Trump hat. And I'm like, what? I was like, and then they give me crap for it, and I'm going, dude, is this not a Trump hat? Are you illiterate?
Gotta read. Read.
Yeah, exactly. And I have another one that says, "Make America Thick Again." Like, so but yeah, it's funny how people just get upset by just seeing it and just assuming, and what assuming does. That's
right.
So, but yeah, that's pretty much all I had. Yeah, I just had to bring that up because everybody always questions, where is Ginsburg? Where's Ginsburg? Well, there was a news story, months ago where they said that, she does everything from home via phone conversation.
Well, hey, I'm glad you told me because I had no idea. I thought you was just in some kind of cryogenic chamber somewhere just trying to get recuperated. I had no idea she was still working.
Yeah, so I could hope for the best, and that's probably the worst. So, but yeah. Anyways, well, that's all I have for tonight. Just thank you for taking the call, and keep up the great work.
All right, thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
All right, have a good one.
Same to you. All right, shout out to the caller. Most certainly appreciate him. Leftist Law, I see you in the chat. I see you sent me a text message. I can't respond to that because this is my Skype number, not my phone number. So if you want to call in, just call in. But I can't actually send you a message or anything. And I'm not going to call you because I got a lot of calls. So, and I can't call out either. So if you want to get on the show, you can do so through the phone number, 434-658-1220, or through Skype. There's an email in the description box for Skype if you want to do that. That could be a better option for you. But let me get to my next call. Oh, there we go. 208, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, you're speaking to
208, you got to tighten up, boss. I heard you, but then your sound went out.
Oh, all right. Hold up. This is Ryan from D.C. It's Leftist Law.
All righty, Ryan. What's going on?
Hey, I wanted to give you a call, and we could talk about whatever you want because I disagree with you on just about everything you've said. But I don't know. I'll start with the MAGA hat guy. You know, like, we're acting like it's brave to get looked at funny in public. Like, you know, you have the right to wear whatever hat you want, but, like, you don't have the right for people to not look at you funny because, you know, they think what you think is whack. Like, you can be a conservative and not support Donald Trump, you know?
So you said, what now? You don't have the right to not get looked at?
Yeah, people are going to look at you whack if they think that, you know, you're supporting is whack. And what Donald Trump supports is whack.
Okay. And what's your point?
Well, my point is it's like people act like they're this big cross bearer, like they're an oppressed class or something because they wore a Trump hat and people looked at them funny. Like, yeah, people are probably going to, you know, they're going to look at you funny. They're going to even yell at you because you're standing up for something that's just not right.
Is it okay to get yelled at for my Trump hat?
I mean, yeah, if you're gonna wear a hat that, you know, a lot of people see as hateful, then, like, yeah, absolutely. People have the right to put their freedom of speech right back at you. Like, you wearing the hat is freedom of speech. Like, they don't have the right to hit you. They don't have the right to, you know, like, get in your face, but they have the right to tell you that it's fucked up.
Sir, no cursing on the show, please.
Yeah, absolutely. I can do that.
All right. So there's no problem. You can get yelled at, whatever. All right. That's cool. So we can point it out that they're doing it, right? We could point out how these people talk about how they're so tolerant and loving, but yet you have on the MAGA hat and they turn into just a full-blown toddler, yelling and screaming and hollering and everything else. So we can say that, right? We can point that fact out.
Look, I mean, is it the best way to change people's minds? No, but, like, should it be everybody's job all the time to carry the torch on having to change people's minds? No, for some people, like, you know this, politics is very personal. And for those people, it's pretty understandable for them to get upset at the way that Donald Trump speaks about them or excludes them via policy. In the last, month alone, Donald things that are very anti-queer, and thus wearing a Donald Trump hat is vehemently opposed, arguably, to queer people. Like, you spoke a couple weeks ago about the Equality Act, and you said that, you know, this is going to let more trans people go and use the bathroom they want. Who cares? Most countries and a lot of states already have bathrooms. What's that?
Are you trans?
No, I'm not trans.
Okay. All right,
but
so
my point is
now. Okay, I got you, but here's the thing about that. Do you think it's okay for little girls to be in the restroom with, you know, big grown men that are not even gay, they're not trans, but they're claiming to be, and take advantage of their law and get next to these girls and potentially abuse them because they can be in the bathroom by law?
Look, I mean, it's a leading question the way you put it, like potentially abuse them. There are already plenty of states and countries that have genderless bathrooms, and that doesn't happen.
Can you answer the question?
Yes, I think it's fine for people of any gender to use any restroom. It's irrelevant. Like, there are literally more incidents of senators assaulting people in bathrooms or attempting to assault people in bathrooms than there are trans people. And
do you have evidence for that?
Yes, I'd be happy to put it in the chat after this conversation. I heard you cite one instance ever of a trans person trying to assault someone in the bathroom, and it's just not a systemic issue.
I got plenty of incidents.
Sure, go ahead. go ahead and drop them in evidence after this. I'd be happy to compare incidents, but it's pretty clear that this isn't happening on a systemic level. And I didn't get to finish my initial point about this, Anthony, which is that the Equality Act is about adding the words sexual orientation and gender identity to protections for things like housing and jobs, something that people who are queer literally can lose their homes right now or be kicked out of the place that they're renting because they are gay, or they can lose their job because they are gay. And that's obviously immoral. And it seems like you're just trying to cherry pick anything to prevent that from happening. And I feel like you do that because you just want to run a conservative talk show instead of standing up for what's right. Like I am a leftist, but I really don't agree with 99% of what the Democrats do. I don't feel the need to defend it because I don't think you do a lot of things right.
I'm gonna respond. Now, here's the thing.
Go ahead.
You can get fired for any reason in a lot of states where it's right to work. It doesn't really matter what it is. You can get fired. You know, I've been fired before, and it wasn't a reason given. It was just like, okay, time to go. So, I mean, you can't get fired because, like, if you happen to be gay and you get fired, how do you know it's because you're gay? It could be for any reason. Where I live, you can get fired for whatever the reason may be. All that does, what you just said, is open the door up for a lawsuit where it may not have even been the case. It's just, it adds to the whole litigious nature of the country to sue and try to get money, where it may not even be a real thing. You're just trying to get a settlement right quick because of your sexuality.
I mean, that's what we have the courts for, though. I mean, that's what they're there to sort out. If you don't have the evidence,
your phone's breaking up.
Like, can you hear me better now?
I hear you.
Okay. That's what we have the courts for. If you're fired because you're gay and you have evidence of that, then that's when you have a legitimate lawsuit. If you don't have a legitimate lawsuit, then it's just going to get tossed out in the first place.
That's not how that always works.
There's no reason.
That's not how that always works. A lot of times what happens is there may be like a strand of evidence, even though it's not really evidence. Like, it could be considered evidence, but it's not really. So then it goes to, you got to go through the whole process. And some of these companies will say, you know what, I don't even want to go through it because it'll cost more to defend ourselves than to settle. So to settle out of court, that's how these things happen a lot. You know, I've seen cases. Okay. I saw a case to back up a little bit. I saw a case that was not an LGBT thing. It was a celebrity that got sued by their nanny. They said that the nanny said that their baby headbutted them and it caused them severe bodily harm. And they had to settle out of court because of that. Now, you have all these frivolous lawsuits that do not get thrown out. There's a litigious nature in this country that's allowed to persist, and laws like this will just add to it.
Okay, but if at that point, would you support revoking protections for things like race? Like, do you think that people shouldn't be able to sue because they were fired because they were black or fired because they were a woman? Let's go as far as to say that my boss says, I'm firing you because you're black. Do you think that that's okay?
Well, now you get evidence that they did that, but that's not the case usually. I think you should be able to get, wait, let me finish. I think personally you should be able to get fired for whatever the reason may be.
Okay. You fire people because they're gay or they're black.
But that doesn't, like, if you get fired because you're black, you got to be able to prove it. You got to be able to have hardcore evidence that happened. But that's not going on. And then the thing about it is, okay, here's what I'm gonna say. You should be able to get fired for whatever the reason. So let's say you want to compare gay to black like you just did. Now, if I get fired because I'm black and then I have evidence, I got proof, and I put some tape out there on the internet, what's going to happen? You're going to have that place get boycotted, and then they're going to shut down. So if you have evidence and you have proof, don't go through the court and try to get some money. Just do that. That'd be the best way to go about it. That'd be the more efficient way to go about it. But what's your next question?
I mean, you could argue that, but at the same time, the attempt to boycott Chick-fil-A made Chick-fil-A more popular.
What did they do?
So there's some degree.
Hold on. What did Chick-fil-A? No. Sir, you're on my show. Sir, you're on my show. I run it. So what did Chick-fil-A do?
So you should interrupt me.
I can do that because this is my show. So the question I have for you is,
haven't let me finish a point.
Sir, what did Chick-fil-A do?
Okay, Chick-fil-A supported groups for anti-queer.
Your phone was breaking up. So can you repeat that, please?
Chick-fil-A supported groups that are anti-queer.
And what groups were these?
What's that?
What groups were these?
I mean, I don't have the names off the top of my head, but you can look it up.
If I said that they were religious groups that just said, marriage is between a man and a woman, is that a group that's anti-queer or just religious?
I mean, I'm quite that there were groups that were more anti-queer than that.
But like, go back you got to be able to. So the question I asked you was, sir, the question I asked you was, if I said that the groups that they're talking about that were so-called anti-queer were just religious and said that marriage was between a man and a woman, is that considered anti-queer? Yes or no? Or is it just religious? Yes or no?
I mean, that is an anti-queer position, which also intersects with being religious.
So is the group anti-queer or religious or both?
It can be both.
So because they're religious, that means they're anti-queer?
Not everyone who's religious is anti-queer. There are plenty of religious people who think that the stance against queer people.
So because those groups are staunchly religious, that makes them anti-queer, is what you said.
Well, if you think that marriage is between a man and a woman, that is anti-queer.
So now you're discriminating against Christians. You see how that works?
No, you said this is capitalism. Like, people can boycott Chick-fil-A and choose not to go there, or they choose to go there because they like the ethics or they don't like the ethics.
We're talking about something different now. We're talking about a group that's religious being anti-queer because they're religious. Now you're discriminating.
No, that's just an anti-queer viewpoint. You can try to argue that it's not, but I'm saying that it is, and I think it's really hard to argue that it's not, especially when you evaluate the consequences of excluding gay marriage.
Okay, all right, cool, I got you. So what else you got?
Would you mind if I just go back and finish the point I feel like I didn't get to finish?
Go for it.
At the end of the day, I just feel like those protections should exist. There's no reason that the government shouldn't provide those protections for queer people, especially when it comes to things like housing. You can try to argue that people should try to boycott, but at the end of the day, boycotts aren't always a realistic option for everyone because a lot of people don't have a ton of money. So sometimes you go to places like Walmart, even if you think that they're unethical, because you have to make that choice. Government recourse should absolutely be an option, especially when it's at the point where queer people can be and are kicked out of their homes.
So has there ever been the case of a gay person being kicked out of their house because they're gay that you can think about right now?
I'd be happy to send you some articles, but yes, I'm sure
the question I had for you was, is there a case you can think of right now of that happening? Is it a yes or no question?
Yes, that happens.
No, the question was, is there a case that you can think of right now where that's happening? Yes or no? Is that a no or a yes? Huh?
Yes.
What's the case?
Do you want
exactly?
Wait, do you want gay teens being kicked out of their house, or do you want people who are grown adults?
You're stalling to try to look it up.
What's that?
The question was, can you think of a case, any case right now where that's happened?
Yes.
What's the case? Give it to me right now.
It happens a lot with queer kids.
Okay, all right. So the answer to the question is, you can't think of a case right now. You got to go look it up. That's the answer. Just be honest with me, sir. Like, let's be honest here on this particular platform.
Okay, I'm being honest with you that just because I can't name the cases doesn't mean I haven't read studies about it happening.
The question was, can you think of a case right now? The answer is no. But what else you got for me?
I don't know. I guess this topic is just getting worn out. So let's go to war with Iran, because you act like, look, Democrats in general have not done a very good job with anti-war positions. However, I think that Republicans have always been a lot worse on it since we started.
You're kind of breaking up really bad.
Basically, hold up.
And give me a quicker little rundown.
Trump,
give me a quick rundown so we kind of run on time.
I'll go quick. Donald Trump made the argument, and something that I liked about him going into the 2016 election, that he was going to get us out of war. We have not withdrawn troops from the Middle East. We just agreed to send 1,500 more to the Middle East, and he's allowing people like John Bolton and Mike Pompeo to drag him closer to war. There's no reason that you or anyone else should be supportive of that just because it's Donald 'Trump. 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 ' Have we declared any new? I mean, we sent more troops, so we haven't done what he said he would do.
So you got to answer the questions. Like, it's simple, yes or no. Have we declared any new wars?
Authorization to use the military force. We don't have to declare wars
sir.
to fight more wars.
I don't got that much time, so you just got to answer the question. It's yes or no question. I'm not asking for explanation. Have we declared any new wars? Yes or no?
It is a loaded question.
All right, okay.
My question.
Well, sir, I gotta go because I got more calls on the line. Thank you for calling.
Bye-bye.
All righty, so shout out to the caller. Ain't nobody kicked out because they're gay. Like, you got to be able to, if you're going to say, oh, there are gays being kicked out of their houses because they're gay, prove it. And the thing about it is, if you have a private home, you should be able to do that if you want to. You should have whoever you want to live in your home, live there if that's what you want. That should be how that goes. All right, caller, 307, you on the line.
ABL, it's Kristen Jr.
Kristen Jr., we got you on the line finally.
Hey, I've been trying to call ever since the show started. Man, I'll make it real quick. I'm on 5%. Did you see the video of the guy that set himself on fire in front of the White House?
I saw some of that, and I was kind of confused. I was like, is that the guy that did it before? Because it was a guy like last month that did the same thing. So this
really? I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, it was a guy that did the same thing last time. And I'm thinking, okay,
wow.
Is it a challenge right now? Set yourself on fire outside the White House?
Hashtag Trump fire.
Yeah, Trump fire all day.
Match me. Well, I saw some comments saying that it was actually on the route where they reported that the guy did it outside of the Trump hotel. But then I saw the video, and I saw that obelisk thing that has the reflective pool in front of it. I saw that right behind him, so I was thinking, well, I've never been to D.C. I don't know where things are located at, in relationship to each other.
Yeah, that's right there in front of the White House.
And then I got to thinking, like, was it more than one person? Like, what is this a thing now? But I didn't hear about it ever happening before.
Yeah, somebody set their jacket on fire, and then they became engulfed in flames. So then you got this whole stop, drop, and roll situation. The dude, he set himself on fire. And then it was a guy that shot himself.
He did not stop, drop, and roll. He just walked casually like it wasn't no thing. He never even, laid down or anything. He was just steady walking. And even when the police ran up on him, the video was edited, so you couldn't really tell how long it went on for. But it cut, in the middle, he was walking, and then he stood still, and then it cut, and the cops were, hosing him down with the that fire extinguisher thing.
Oh wow! So he was upright walking with the flames.
Yeah. And they said there was sightseers and stuff around him because it was in a really populated area, but they all ran away before the video started. But they said he had some kind of a political message written on his clothes.
That's crazy. I'm not surprised though,
I know.
Because you had the guy that did the same thing last month, and then there was the old man that shot himself in the arm in school. Because of Trump.
It's nuts.
It's like,
the
come
TDS levels are over 9,000. They're going Super Saiyan. Okay, so another person said that this used to be common in the 90s by Buddhist monks. They would go into a trance, a meditative state, and set themselves on fire to protest when China came in and I don't know, they're occupying it, or China took over Tibet. So the monks would set themselves on fire and protest. So I don't know if this is maybe a religious thing, or I don't know.
No, it's just some crazy people.
I'd rather see Buddhists set themselves on fire than Muslims that go and try to set other people on fire.
Well, there you go. Exactly.
All right, man. Take it easy. Have a great night. Thank you.
Thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
All right, Christian JR for the call. Definitely thank her for that. Most certainly appreciate it. Yeah, it was a guy last month did the same thing, set himself on fire. I thought it was the same video. I'm like, okay, why are they showing this again? And then I saw the date. I was like, oh, that's today. That man set himself on fire outside the White House again. Another person set himself on fire. Hey, that's the extreme TDS. There could be a whole documentary about TDS. You had a guy that shot himself in the arm. 2 guys set themselves on fire. These people are crazy. Absolutely nuts. There's no question about it. Let me get to the next call here. Unknown caller on the line. Who am I speaking to? Unknown caller.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, good evening, Mr. Logan.
All right, who am I speaking to?
I speak to Chris from New York City.
All right, what's going on?
Nothing much. I just have a couple questions, or one question.
All right, go for it, boss.
It's a little off topic, but what is your thoughts on Venezuela and how much of it is Maduro's fault?
Well, I'm not really sure how much of it is Maduro's fault, but I would say that a large part of it is leadership, because at one point, Venezuela was a beautiful place to be. You know, some parts are still beautiful, of course, but it wasn't like this before. So you got to point to the leadership for what's happening right now. People talk about sanctions or whatnot, but you got people starving in the streets. It shouldn't be like that when you're an oil-rich country, when you are able to grow your own food. It shouldn't be like the way it is. So I assign a lot of it to Maduro, but also to the previous leadership and just the general government of the country. And it's really sad what's happening in Venezuela.
Yes. Thank you. And I'm going to use this for a school project. If you are can I use this for a school project?
Oh, go for it, man. For sure.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
All right. Shout out to the caller. You know, getting the school project on. I like that, man. You know, get your grades, get all that good stuff done, man. 100%. All right. I'm gonna try to get to all the calls on the line, so y'all hang tight. All right, call you on the line, 857.
Yeah, this is Ivan.
All right, Ivan, what's going on?
Wow, man, why you keep misleading your audience, man?
What happened? What'd I do?
Why you keep misleading? First, let's start. I want to touch base with the crime bill. One of your claims that you said the crime bill. Why you say you didn't like about the crime bill?
The crack versus powder disparity.
Well, the crack versus cocaine disparity was not in the crime bill. Was in the abuse drug bill that was signed in 1986 by Ronald Reagan. I just posted something on your thing, so that's not true.
Okay.
Okay? You can't just be making stuff up, bro.
I mean, whatever you say,
you gotta come real.
Like, you can say that what I said is untrue, but I got to check your sources to make sure you're telling the truth.
Yeah, I just posted your sources. Let me post it again. Bro. So you can't just be... There we go. I just posted.
Okay.
It's called net possession, the 100 gram. You know, before it used to be distribution. In 1988, Ronald Reagan, to lock up more people, black people, he put possession before it was distribution. In 1988, and changed it to possession. So that is that. And what the crime bill screwed up, it was to give the money to the states to do the same thing, not with the disparity, but give more time in prison for those with their distributing drugs after 3 offenses. That means you were a repeat offender. The 3rd time, you will be gone forever. So that means you could have 5 grams of crack, you get locked up at the state level, you do 5 years, and then you do it again, and you do it for the 3rd time, and you will be gone. So that thing that you say is not true. Let's move forward to the and actually, there's no evidence that the crime bill, specifically the crime bill, lock up the increase in the population of inmates. It was due to the crime bill. There's no specific evidence that it was an increase, but there's no evidence related to that because we're already locking up people before that.
So why did Bill Clinton apologize?
Because it was a bad bill. I mean, there's no specific evidence that the rampant. There was an increase.
Why was it a bad bill?
It was an increase.
Sir, wait a minute. Why was it a bad bill if it did not increase the number of inmates?
No, I didn't say that. It was a major increase. It was an increase, but there's no. But for example, let's say you get locked up at the state level before, then you're doing your time, right? And then you come back from jail. So pretty much people were coming in and out of jail. So when the crime bill kicks in, right, for your 3rd time, so that means you're doing a life in prison. That's how you saw all those people that Trump is getting out because they were doing life because they already have previous convictions. So that means those who were coming in, because there were no release, the prisons were full. And that's why the private prison and all this nonsense started. But that's for another day.
So
but
that means that there were more inmates since you had to get more prisons.
Because people were doing life sentences.
All right,
so
what is your point here? Sir, what is your point?
The point, well, one of the points is that the 100-to-1 ratio was not from
we already passed that.
Was from the 1986.
What's the next point?
The next point is there's no specific evidence that indicates that the three strike laws, right, the crime bill, right, really rampant. Pretty much people were going to jail before that. That's what I'm trying to say.
But okay, so let's just get down to it. You say people were going to jail before the crime bill. So what are you saying about the crime bill? What did it actually do?
Well, they actually did is 2 people in prison for long-term sentences.
Okay.
Pretty much let's say you already got 2 strikes. You already got 2
All right, so I got that part. So you're saying that people had longer sentences, therefore you had more inmates because you had to build more jails to house all the extra people.
Because people were staying longer.
Okay, so that means you have more inmates because you got to build more jails to accommodate. So you did have more inmates. Sir, wait a minute. You just said that they had to build more jails to accommodate for all the inmates. So that means you did have more inmates.
No, not necessarily.
Wait, sir, hold on, sir. Wait, a minute, sir. Okay. You just got done saying that they built more jails to accommodate for more inmates. Yes or no?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So that means that there were more inmates.
Because people were staying.
No. It doesn't matter. So there were more inmates. It doesn't matter.
I'm just going to explain it to you.
Yeah, sir. Like, you're muted. You said that there were more prisons built to house more inmates. That means that there were more inmates. It's very simple. Let's move on to the next thing.
No, because people were staying longer. That means you're doing it 20 years.
Sorry, you muted. Let's move on to the next thing. You're muted. Nobody can hear you. Move on to the next thing.
Huh?
Move on to the next thing.
Okay, let's move to the next step. So, okay, that is that. That's what we need to be discussed. Okay. I'm concerned about the Mueller report, right? About Mueller, what he said today, right? Do you know, well, you said there was no evidence when we know there was evidence, but there was sufficient evidence according to Mueller to charge him. But we all know, as you know, and I'm pretty sure you're aware of, that Mueller could not charge him because it's a policy, not because it's a law. So pretty much even if Mueller decided, hey, man, you committed collusion, you committed obstruction, he couldn't charge him.
So if
That's
he thought
up to Congress to charge.
So if he thought that there was a crime there, why didn't he say that there was a crime? Not that you had to indict him.
No,
wait.
No.
Hold on. I got to finish the question. You don't have to indict him, but you can say there was a crime committed here. That's what Ken Starr did. He didn't indict Bill Clinton, but he said the word guilty 11 times in the Starr report. So why can't you do the same thing that Ken Starr did?
But because he didn't find enough evidence, sufficient evidence to conclude that there was a crime committed, but there was plenty of evidence. There was plenty of evidence.
If there's not enough evidence to say that he committed a crime, then it doesn't
for
matter.
Him, according to him,
look, I gotta finish.
According to him,
sir, I gotta finish my point.
Mm-hmm.
If there was not enough evidence to say that he committed a crime, then you can't ever you couldn't convict him on that. It doesn't matter that the whole we can't, like a sitting president is there. That whole thing is irrelevant because there's not enough evidence anyway. Even if you could, you couldn't because not enough evidence.
No, you don't understand what I say. He couldn't convict him anyways. Even he concluded there was enough evidence because it is not a law, but it's a policy that says you cannot convict a sitting president.
It doesn't matter.
It has to be removed by Congress.
Sir, it doesn't matter because there's not enough evidence. So even if you could, sir. Even if you could,
according to him, but Congress.
I'm talking. I'm gonna mute you. Even if you could indict a sitting president, there's not enough evidence to do so. So it doesn't even really matter.
Him, Congress will charge you too, right? Congress have the power to remove him from office.
But you gotta have evidence
because of the obstruction.
None of that matters because there's not enough evidence to go forward.
I think you don't understand what I
understand. I understand.
You
100%.
understand what he said? Do you understand what he said today?
Yes, I watched it, and he said that.
I don't think you understood what he been saying.
No, I mean he put out a statement.
In base of the obstruction wasn't enough evidence, but Congress can go and get him.
But
so that's why
they could if they wanted to, but
that's what they're planning to do. That's what they're getting ready to do.
But they're not going to be able to actually indict him. You can't do that. What they're going to do is try to impeach him. But if they impeach him, they're not going to be successful because there's not enough evidence to say that he committed a crime. Just like Bob Mueller said. Bob Mueller was basically like, look, I'm washing my hands of the whole situation. I'm done. I ain't talking about this no more. I ain't talking to Congress. I'm going back to my house, kicking my feet up, smoking a cigar, and I'm finished. But I'll give you, like, the last word, 30 seconds.
Because Mueller said, the special counsel said the Congress should not act on it. That's what you're saying?
Act on what?
In base of the evidence that they got.
What evidence?
Because if Mueller is separate from Congress.
What?
Congress is legal. Congress have the authority to remove a president for impeachment for bribery,
based on
for corruption.
Look, I'm gonna go ahead and mute you right quick. The reality is that there's not enough evidence to do anything. If Congress wants to go through the impeachment route, it would not be successful. There was more evidence against Slick Willie when the whole Ken Starr situation happened, but they were not able to move him from office because there was not enough to get him. There's even less with Trump, so how is that going to be successful? It's not.
Can I talk that I'm on now, or I'm?
Go ahead. You got 10 seconds. You got 10 seconds because I got to go to my next caller.
So what the Congresswoman from Massachusetts she planning to do? She planned to the report, the part of the report with the obstruction. She planning to have a vote in Congress. If the majority of people vote, the 2/3 of the people vote for that particular bill. I mean, no, I don't know if it's a bill. You want to call it a bill?
You got to speed it up, sir. We got limited time.
If they vote for it, then we'll impeach him. If not, they won't proceed with impeachment.
Okay.
But don't be saying saying that there's no corruption and all that. There's no evidence.
All right, I got you. But at the end of the day,
you gotta stop. You gotta be telling the truth, bro.
All right, I'm gonna mute you right quick, and then I'm gonna say what I gotta say, and then you're done. It doesn't matter. They can impeach him all you want to, but they're not gonna be successful. Impeachment just means they're gonna start the process, but you gotta actually find something there to be successful. And Mueller already said that there's nothing there to actually impeach him on. But thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate it. All right. So no collusion, no obstruction of justice, no nothing. Exoneration. That's what it is. Let me get to my next call. All right, Victor, you on the line?
Hey, just for taking my call.
Hey, no problem.
Hang on quick. Okay, cool. Got you on mute. All right. So over the Memorial Day weekend in D.C., at least 20 people shot in D.C., a lot of them in southeast part of D.C.
Wow.
Yeah, and you're wondering why there's gentrification.
it's pretty clear to see what's going on there.
Yeah. So in fact, I had an argument with one guy on Facebook because I said that Black Lives Matter looked like it's treat us better than we treat each other. So we were going back and forth, and he said that, and this is, I couldn't believe what he said. He said that this police shooting is more of a problem than black crime. And I said that, well, you don't have black flight out of these neighborhoods because of police shootings. They're moving out because of the crimes that's being committed by black people.
That's right.
You don't have people being kicked out of their neighborhoods because there are police shootings. You're getting kicked out because of events like these, where over a 3-day period that 20 people got shot. How do you shoot 20 people over 3 days?
You know, they're having cookouts, having parties, all that good stuff, and you might have, 10 get shot in one spot. Matter of fact, that happened in Virginia. That was on the news, national news.
In Chesapeake, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Out there in the hood in Holly Cove. I've been there before.
I said I knew it was the hood. My wife told me about it, and I read about it. I said, yeah, that sounds like a black neighborhood.
All day long. Holly Cove. It's like south of Portsmouth, which is like 50% black city, over like 100,000 population. It's a straight hood. Like, I remember hearing about Holly Cove when I was a little kid. So that's been the hood for a long time. Matter of fact, they had this festival at the beach called Something in the Water with Pharrell and whatnot. And a lot of the local hood people couldn't go because the hotels are super expensive. Tickets were expensive. So then they were like, we're going to have our own Something in the Water out here in the hood. All right. And you see what happened. 10 people got shot. 1 person got killed.
Oh, that's crazy. And then another thing about DC, it's you can't carry a gun. Where do they get these guns to shoot 20 people?
Hey, that's a great question. How do you procure all these handguns? I thought it was illegal. I thought that if you made guns illegal or heavily restricted, you couldn't get access to them. It's kind of weird how criminals seem to have all the guns, but civilians not so much in DC. That's strange.
Yeah. So on the Mueller report, his interview. So basically, he said that where there's no evidence of collusion, but we feel that Donald Trump did something. My thought is, facts don't care about your feelings.
Exactly. Either he did or he didn't. Let's stick to the facts. Let's not have all these, this guesswork, all that stuff. No, come with the facts and have that be that.
Yeah, I mean, what evidence do you have to say that he did it? The Steele dossier? You kidding me? When we find out that's fake, or what else? The Facebook ads, which it was basically supported the Democrat Party by supporting Black Lives Matter and stuff like that.
Right. I mean, some of the most simple stuff. They said they spent like $3,500 on Facebook as like, I can do that. Like anybody can do that. That's not something that's going to destroy the election. I mean, this whole Russia collusion kerfuffle has been blown out of proportion just to make Trump look like the bad guy, colluding with big bad Vladimir Putin. It's the whole Red Scare all over again.
Yeah. So, anyways, moving on to the Clarence Thomas statement. I think that people are not making a big deal because he's not a white man. If he was a white man, I think people will make it a bigger deal.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. 100%.
Yeah. So it's great to hear a black man talking against abortion, especially when you have 2 black men in Alabama that talked about how, this law says that it's okay to rape my daughter, or say that some kids need to be aborted because they're unwanted.
Right, that was crazy. That man talking about you can kill them now or kill them later. So when somebody says something like that, then the whole argument about, is it a baby or a fetus or whatever they want to call it, go out the window. You know you're killing the baby. You just saying, just kill it right now so it doesn't have a quote unquote hard life.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And the real issue is, and somebody brought this up, is that we really don't want to talk about when life begins at all. They try to go away from there, and to the point where now they want to make their own definition about when life begins. And I mentioned this before, that in biology, the definition of life, because biology means the study of life, they define a living organism or a living being within 7 categories: homeostasis, organization, which is cellular organization, metabolism, growth, adaptation, response to stimuli, and reproduction. And the embryo or the baby forming in the womb have those 6 characteristics except for reproduction. That is strong evidence that it is a living being. And then people want to say that, well, that's just a broad that's a broad term of life, but that doesn't explain human life. Why do you want to go beyond science when you want to support science and everything else except for abortion?
Yeah, that's crazy because they'll say, "Oh, you're a science denier." If you talk about being a climate change skeptic, when you're talking about provable things like life, as far as humans are concerned, they threw all the science out the window. It's like they're conveniently fans of science.
Yeah, and then on top of that, if people just want to look at how a baby look during different weeks, and also study how well organized the growth of a human being is after conception, I think they will have a different outlook on abortion.
Oh, 100%. People just don't really understand what's going on with the human body. They don't know. If they had more information, then I think they would think differently.
Yes. So, also what I want to talk about is this Rome for Life event that happened earlier this month. And the reason why I want to bring it up because there's a specific bishop named Cardinal Burke. He's an American bishop, and he in one of the forums he made headlines because he talked about patriotism, how patriotism is good and it's messed up how people are looking at patriotism as evil. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he had a strong statement against globalism, which is against what Pope Francis said about how globalism is good, that these countries need to relieve some of their power to a global power.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, and Cardinal Burke talked against globalism by saying that globalism is basically totalitarianism, and it is like the Tower of Babel. If you read the Bible and read about the Tower of Babel, it shows that it's just a pride thing that people come, because when you get all that power, especially globalism, it's a pride thing, and then once pride gets in the way, then it just goes downhill. I mean, just look at what happened with Joseph Stalin and how he was killing certain people in his totalitarianism regime.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. So it's very good to hear him talk good things about patriotism, especially in today's country where they associate patriotism to white nationalism.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. We got to take that term back and just get it back to what it actually means. Just being about loving your country. There should be no shame in that.
Yeah, and then how can you love globalism, but yet though you can't love your country?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, you try to take something so big, but yet though you can't take care of what's going on in your country. That's why I don't like the people talking about we want open borders or let these people come in illegally when you can't even help the poor people within your own country. And going back to gentrification, you're getting mad that people are getting kicked out of their own home, but yet though you want to bring these people from outside the country, bring them into the country, which also kicking the people out of their homes too, and without taking care of your people in your country that's being kicked out their homes, you want to add on a new problem in this country.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, that's all I have. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
All right. Bye.
All right, that's a great call from my man Victor right there. Thank you for that. And shout out to the super chatters right quick. Thank you to Greatness81 who says, if Mueller knew he couldn't indict Trump, what was the point of the investigation? Starr said Clinton was guilty 11 times. Mueller said Trump guilty 0. That's very good questions and very good points. Thank you for your donation. Thank you to William Mice. Hopefully I did not butcher your name there, boss, who says, great channel, man. Keep it up. Will do. Thank you to William McGinn for the other donations. Shout out to, I'm butchering your name, I'm sorry, Aglomo, who says, are there any Democratic policies you support? Are there any circumstances where abortion should be allowed, and should the U.S. support Israel? Okay, Democratic policies I support. I cannot think of any on top of my head right now. I don't really know any that I can think of. Nah. Maybe there is some, but I can't think of any right now. Circumstances where abortion should be allowed, life with the mother. If it's impossible to deliver the baby through C-section or something like that, and you got to have an abortion, or the mom's going to die, that's the only reason. Aside from that, no. And should the U.S. support Israel? Well, I think we should, if it makes sense for us. We support pretty much every country on planet Earth with some kind of aid of some sort, whether it be cash, military, both. We do that with every country on Earth almost. I think it's 193 countries on Earth. We supply aid to 185. So I don't know why Israel gets picked on so much. If it's about the amount of money that we give them, we give Afghanistan and Iraq more money than Israel. But let me get to my next call. And the phone lines are jumping, so if I cannot get to you quickly, I'm sorry. All right, caller, you on the line, 617. 617 on the line. Going once, going twice. Sorry. But the lines are jumping. We got to keep it rocking. 323 on the line, I'm speaking to.
Yo, Snap Turtle from LA.
All right, what's going on?
What's good, brother? Hey, man, I just want to let you know, man, I got mad respect for what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Especially about your viewpoints on the Democratic Party, right? You know, you spend some real facts about that.
Yeah,
but I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
Hey, no problem, man. What do you feel? Because I hit you up with a super chat one time and asked you what you think about Trump saying, I like take the guns first, due process second. Have you ever had a chance to look into that?
I've not seen that.
Okay, so I would like for you to go look that up. It happened after the shooting. What's that dude's name? In Florida. After the shooting in
Nicholas
Florida.
Cruz.
Nicholas Cruz. So it surrounded that event. So he said that after that event, and then that's when these red flag laws started cropping up. You know what I'm saying? And me, myself, I have taken what is, I would say, a halfway red pill, which means that I completely abandon the left wing and the Democratic Party, but I am not convinced or ready yet to hop on over to the Conservative Party. So, but what I want you to do, because what happens is a lot of people suffer from cognitive dissonance, and when they hear something that goes against what they thought was real, you know, they kind of have a hard time looking at it from a real angle. And I know that you, yourself, as smart as you are, I know if you heard that, I know you would not like it. Just how cavalierly he said it. I need you, please, to go look at that. And it happened.
Oh, caller, are you there, caller?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry.
All right, go ahead.
Did you hear me?
Yeah, you were talking about the law. Now, or what he said. Now, I do have it in front of me. I found it. And here's a quote. Okay. It says, I like taking the guns early. Like in this crazy man's case that just took place in Florida, to go to court would have taken too long or taken a long time. Trump said at a meeting with lawmakers on school safety and gun violence, take the guns first, go through due process second, Trump said. Trump was responding to comments from Vice President Pence that families and local law enforcement should have more tools to report potentially dangerous individuals with weapons. Allow due process so no one's rights are trampled, but the ability to go to court, obtain an order, and then collect not only the firearms but any weapons, Pence said. So Pence was saying, all right, have due process, go to court, and then obtain the order. Trump was saying, I like just going straight to, take the guns first. Now, this is a tricky situation. I think that there should be something done if you know somebody is, going to kill people. Like in the case of Nicholas Cruz, people were saying that the FBI dropped the ball. The FBI had interviewed him.
He did.
Yeah, like the
Absolutely.
FBI, they interviewed him multiple times. He was a known danger, a known threat. It's
Right.
like if you know that somebody's going to commit a terror attack, and you know they got all the equipment in their house ready to make the stuff to go and commit a terror attack, or you know they're going to commit a workplace shooting. It's like, do you just allow it to happen, or do you intervene? Now I don't know what the answer is to intervene in that situation if you have credible information. Now this could be abused where it could be information that's not credible, and you just go take somebody's guns because somebody said something. So I think that Trump may have just been picking off the cuff and not thinking about, well, people could abuse it. I think Mike Pence had the appropriate thing to say about going to court and figuring out what's going on before you take any kind of action, before you violate somebody's rights. But if you got a person you know was about to go over the edge and kill a lot of people, go through the court process and see what's going on. But I'm not a fan of skipping the court process first.
Well, see, and that's what I was going to say. I was going to say that it can be abused, and it has been in Washington, D.C. As soon as that law was passed, you know, they got red flag laws now. In Washington, D.C., a neighbor didn't like another neighbor, so he called the police on him and said, oh, he's got a gun, he's dangerous, because that red flag law came out, and they knew they could take advantage of it. And so the guy, when the police showed up, he said, I'm not giving my guns to you. No, it's not happening.
Yeah.
So there was an altercation that ended up killing the guy because he didn't want to give the guns up. But he didn't do anything wrong but piss off a neighbor. So what happens is, like in California, they have red flag laws. They've been had the red flag laws in California. Only certain people could call the police on you and do that. Now they're trying to push it to where, now anybody that you encounter can say that. And, you know, that's when it becomes a real problem. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
I'm with you.
And I feel like Trump kind of opened the door because, you know these Democrats, these liberals, they're going to take anything they can to use to their advantage to do some crazy crap. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Oh, well, Trump said we can do this, so that's what we're going to do. So, and that's what my problem is. Who was that? Rahm Emanuel said, never let a good tragedy go to waste. That just lets you know where these people's minds are, and they get mad at us when we say, oh, thoughts and prayers goes out to the victims. And they get mad when we say that. Like, why aren't you politicizing the situation? Because that's what they want to do. They want to politicize. Every time there's a tragedy, they want to politicize it, except for when it's a case like in Boulder, Colorado. Remember that?
Yeah.
When there was a shooting, it was a lesbian or something like that, or a tranny or whatever it was.
Yeah, they backed away real quick because that kind of like, yeah.
They wasn't messing around with that. But anyway, man, keep up the good work. I watch your videos every day, and keep coming with that work, man.
All right, thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you. All right.
All right, no problem. Bye.
All right, shout out to the caller. That was a good question. Yeah, the red flag law is not a big fan, and I can understand how somebody could take what Trump said and take it the other direction. But I would really be concerned if the law that got taken advantage of was in more conservative states. Because Trump could say a thing, but if you're in a conservative place where guns are really protected, that ain't going to happen. Out where I live in Tennessee, close to where I live, is this county called Polk County, and they've declared themselves a gun sanctuary. So you're not going to have no kind of red flag law in Polk County. But shout out to the caller. Definitely appreciate him. Let me get to my next call here. All righty. Let's go. 214, you're on line. I'm speaking to.
Hey, man, what's going on? It's Tariq.
All right, Tariq, what's happening?
Not much, man. I just want to talk about Robert Mueller, man, because I just feel like this is just I just feel like he has a vendetta against Trump because what he said, as soon as he said that one line that the media is quoting, if we had enough evidence to not convict Trump of obstruction, we would have said so. I feel like that was said intentionally just to get the Democrats riled up.
Oh yeah, that was a big dog whistle.
Yeah. I mean, it's just. I mean, if you weren't gonna look at obstruction at all, couldn't convict them. You heard the media harping about that for 2 years. Why couldn't you just release a statement and say this is not something we are going to look at? We're just going to look at the collusion aspect. You know what I'm saying? Like what? And then my thing is, I feel like if they did find a glaring crime, they would have said something. I don't think they would have let that go. They probably would have said something to say, we leave it up to Congress or whatever to take a look at it. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like this is just an anti-Trump hit. You know, he's one of the establishment figures. And the thing about, like I said, bro, I don't believe this whole, from the get, I don't believe our intelligence services at all on Russia. I think it's all bogus. They're not really telling us how they interfered. And, you know, words have meaning. Look at the words that they use to describe this Russian whatever. They say Russian attacked our election. You know, that is a call for war. Like, what do you mean attack our election? You know, but we're never really told how. Like, hack what service? Like, okay, you say they hack what service. What proof? What's the name of the person? You're saying Russian government officials. Who are these people? You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing with, like, I always bring up the whole Iraq war, where we believe they got weapons here in this location. Our intelligence services said so. So it's there. We go into Iraq. We start a war. You know, Americans dying, destabilize that country. No weapons of mass destruction. But these liars, they get up on TV and they just say it, and we believe it, and then our media parrots it. You know, and it just, to me, I think, like I said from the beginning, this Russian narrative is really just to stop Donald Trump from having any type of peace with Russia. Because anytime he talks to Putin or tries to do anything, they're always going to throw up this stupid narrative, oh, he's just cozying up with Putin. And that's really dangerous for American politics. Like, I'm really sick of this, man. Like, our media machine, anytime the president tries to make peace with a foreign leader who we have hostile relationship, they use these ridiculous words like cozying up with them. You know, why do they have to use that word? Why can't they say he's trying to be diplomatic? You know, because they use it in a way to make Trump seem like he's soft. Like, for example, I bet you if Trump would have said, you know what, we're just going to mind our business in Venezuela. Whatever happens, happens. That's none of our business. Trump is bowing down to Venezuela. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They use those words just to make sure that we can never achieve peace. And I don't know if you've seen Trump in that Fox News interview when he was like, you know, the military industrial complex is this. He's right.
I saw that.
Overall, these people want constant conflict. You know, and sadly, it's coming from both sides. And you would think that the liberals who cares about brown people and all, you know, being non-violent would be some anti-war types, but no, it seems like they are pro-war. They're not anything different. You know, I don't trust these liberals. If it's against Donald Trump, they are going to be pro-war. Even with Tulsi Gabbard, you know, I don't trust Tulsi Gabbard. You know, yeah, she is. You know what? To be honest, I would probably have Tulsi Gabbard as one of, you know, what I'm saying, one of my national defense advisors. But that's about it. I wouldn't put her as president because, you know, the things she said about Trump in North Korea, how Trump should take the North Korean threat seriously. I'll be honest, I don't believe there's no threat, man. I believe Trump had the right idea all along talking to Kim Jong-un. I just feel like if he just had the right people in his ear that just says, just ignore the media, the American people is going to trust you, just ignore the media, come up with a good deal. Even if the United States has to make concessions. You know what I'm saying? The problem is, I feel like with our media, if Trump was to tell, you know, North Korea, okay, we are going to relieve some sanctions if you guys do X, Y, Z, you know, they're going to call Trump weak. His policy is dangerous. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get the North Koreans to disable the nuclear program, but without no concessions. That makes no sense.
Right.
And it's the same thing with Iran. It's the same thing with Russia. We're going to have to give up something. You know, the United States will never enter a deal where we have to denuclearize and maybe something's coming down the future. Nobody's going to operate like that.
Right.
But if the media keeps pushing that thing, they're intentionally pushing a failed strategy. And now you see why we're in these conflicts for years. Like, this is years. And no change. And every president is doing the same thing. We see Trump trying to do something different, but then he comes back at home. You know, for example, like, you know, what is that congressman? What's his name? Peter King of New York. Forget his name.
I think it's Peter King.
Of New York. Yeah, but you remember when Trump quoted Kim Jong-un, you know, saying Joe Biden is a low IQ or something like that? Of course, all the liberals got mad. But what angered me is these Republicans that got mad.
Yeah.
Like Peter King about, you know, we shouldn't disrespect any of the U.S. presidential candidates off soil. Americans are getting tired of this nonsense, this false, this moralism, just political correct. Like, shut up, man. Like, no American is losing their cool because Trump said Kim Jong-un, he agrees with Kim Jong-un because of, what's his name? His name has escaped me. Joe Biden, is a lot. But that's the political. I wish Republicans would stop playing that partisan, that political correct stuff. Like, you don't always have to make a statement against Donald Trump. If you have a problem with Donald Trump, tell him it's silent. Because all the media is going to do is just blow you up and use this as some. Even the Republicans are getting on them, and it's just so frustrating. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Because you don't even see. Also, okay, yeah. And I'm almost done, man. You don't even see Democrats doing it. If you notice, Democrats don't. Even with Nancy Pelosi calling out, she's not for impeachment. You don't see Democrats attacking her and saying she doesn't know what she is doing. But it just angers me that some of the Republicans do that, man. And just the last thing before I get off is Joe Biden and the black vote. I'm hearing that he is leading in the black vote. And what's frustrating me is, black people and their political maturity when it comes to politics, man. It's really hypocritical. It doesn't make sense. There's no logic, and it explains why Democrats really don't really just pander to us. We are siding. Well, what I'm hearing, the majority of black folks is siding behind Joe Biden, who co-authored the crime bill, and forgiving him for what? Is it because he was the VP of President Obama, so they're thinking, this is just the closest thing to Obama? Well, this is showing me that black liberals do not care about policy. Because if they cared about policy, they would get Joe Biden for that. But if this was the reverse, if Trump would have engineered the crime bills anyway, then black people would hold Trump to a higher standard and attack him over that. It's the same thing with Governor Ralph Northam. You don't see black folks protesting to get him gone. This is why nobody's really taking us seriously in politics. Because we have double standards. We're not consistent. We're not drawing the line on anywhere. That's what just angers me. This is why I don't listen to black liberals. Simone Sanders defending Joe Biden gets the crime bill. I'm like, why do we continue to vote for these people? Anyways, man, that's all I wanted to say.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
All right, man. Take care.
All right, peace. All right, great call from my man Tariq. Dropping the bombs as always. All righty, Leah, what's going on?
Hey, ABL, sorry. So, I think that you know why I'm calling, ABL.
Yes, I do.
All right, so should I start from the beginning?
Yeah, start from the very top.
Okay, so very top. So, hello, everybody. If you don't know me, my name is Leah. I was a regular caller, but I've been super busy with life, which is why I haven't called for a while. I currently work at a small newspaper in southeast Iowa as a local government reporter. And about a week ago, my coworker left her job with us. She was the political reporter. And so I, as a local government reporter, have taken over all of her responsibilities, including, get this, guys, interviewing Elizabeth Warren.
There you go. Big time. Congratulations.
So I interviewed Elizabeth Warren on Monday. If you were wondering, yes, it was an exclusive one-on-one interview with her. I actually went into a separate room in the venue that she was going to speak at, and her and I met prior to the event taking place. I also had a one-on-one interview with Senator Chuck Grassley. I know he makes the news sometimes.
Absolutely. I know about Chuck Grassley,
So I had that interview today, and I had Senator Warren's interview tomorrow. So I didn't know what all you wanted me to talk about, because I know that you wanted me to come on and talk about interviewing Elizabeth Warren.
Oh, yeah. So, how was that whole experience? Were you able to ask questions that were kind of outside of what the newspaper wanted, ask some really hard-hitting stuff? How was the whole thing?
So, actually, the really nice thing is that because I work for a small paper, I basically have a lot of leeway to ask whatever I want to ask and then to write my articles. It's not very often that my bosses stand over me and say, this is what we want you to write. The only time that they've actually done that has been whenever I've had an issue and maybe they thought, Leah, you're not hitting this hard enough. We need to make this more of a thing. We need to point out why this is a big deal. So I had a lot of autonomy there. I had 10 minutes to ask questions, and so I actually had a list of questions, and I ended up getting to ask 3. And the 3 questions that I asked were, number 1, you may have noticed that there's a lot of talk of criminal justice reform lately, right?
Yeah.
Like, all the Democrats talk about it, but one thing that I never hear about, and longtime viewers on the stream know that this is my thing, is I never hear them talk about criminal justice reform for mentally ill inmates. I never hear it talked about. So that was the first question I asked her. The second question is, I don't know if people realize this, but Iowa is still very much underwater. Like, we had literally major flash flooding in the town that I lived yesterday.
Oh, wow. Like,
And by flash flooding, I mean, like, rushing water flash flooding. Not like what happened in Davenport where it was still water.
Yeah.
It was like major rushing water. 2 inches of rain fell in 30 minutes.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty rough. So are you able to move around decently where you live?
Yeah. It all drained. We have decent draining because we're right on the Mississippi River. It all drained, but there's like giant patches of asphalt that are now missing.
Wow.
You drive around, there's like, I hit a bump coming home from my friend and I went to dinner, and I hit a bump, and I'm like, okay, I swear that bump was not there yesterday.
Right.
So the second question I asked her was about the relief for flooding, and pointing out the fact that Iowa, did you know that Iowa's not actually considered to be in a disaster anymore?
I did not know that.
Yeah, the federal disaster for Iowa actually ended on May 14th, even though we are still above major flood stage, and actually we're set to on Friday. We're going to be hitting our second largest crest, third, it's somewhere between the 3rd and the 5th highest crest that we've ever had in Burlington.
Wow, that's pretty serious.
And this will be our 3rd major crest in the top 10 since March.
Wow, yeah.
And then the third question that I asked, because I had a little bit of time, was I asked her, I said, are Democrats still wanting to impeach Trump? Like, do you still think that's the thing?
Great question. What was she able to respond to that? What'd she say?
Yes, she did. She told me that she feels that it is her constitutional duty to push to impeach Donald Trump.
Wow.
Because she read in the dossier, she was convinced that, yes, like this is what she said. She said, a foreign government definitely hacked our elections. And she didn't say it like this. Like, one thing, I will say this one thing. I will give this to her, okay? Because I think we should give people what they're due, right? She is really soft-spoken when you talk to her in an interview. And that really surprised me because I feel like you never see that of her. But I was really surprised that, like, even though I disagreed with a lot of what she was saying, I enjoyed sitting there and, like, talking to her and kind of, like, the aura that she was putting off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So even though I, like, disagreed with a big part of what she had to say, I'm like, okay, this was not, like, a bad interview. We weren't attacking each other. We were sitting there talking face-to-face, and it was really nice. But so for Trump, she said, I feel like this is my constitutional duty. The election was interfered with. The Trump campaign welcomed the interference, and Trump had obstructed the investigation, so therefore I think it's my constitutional duty to impeach Trump. And I actually asked Senator Grassley about this today, and he said to me, I thought what he said was really poignant. He said, when you look at an impeachment hearing, a lot of people don't think about this, but an impeachment is 2 parts, right? So you have the actual impeachment that takes place, that is the House of Representatives, and then you have the impeachment trial, which takes place for the Senate. So a lot of people don't talk about this, but Bill Clinton was impeached. He just was not convicted of impeachment.
Correct.
So the U.S. House of Representatives basically acts as the grand jury, and then the U.S. Senate acts as the jury. And what he said was, if you were in a criminal trial and you had made up your mind before you even got in there to hear any evidence that the person was guilty, you would be excluded. So why are you trying to say, well, I think he needs to be impeached without saying that this is how you're going to vote before there's even an impeachment trial? Now, I'm not saying that it's necessarily that's going to get to that point, and he wasn't either. But what he was pointing out is the fact that everyone has made the decisions, And you can't just say, oh, I'm going to vote to impeach Trump. Well, you haven't listened to the evidence. You haven't done the processes that you were required to do. And if we just say, we don't like this president, so therefore we're going to kick him out of office by impeaching him, that's not a good precedent to set. It's a very dangerous precedent to set, actually, to say that, oh, you can impeach any president that you want. I mean, think about that, ABL. Isn't that kind of scary?
You can basically just, anybody you don't like, you can just say, okay, impeach and get him out. Now you're just removing the ability of the American people to elect who they want and have him in office.
Exactly, and that's kind of becoming an argument that I was really interested to hear what Elizabeth Warren had to say, because a lot of people are saying, let's let the American people, let's let this go through to 2020, and if the American people cannot still vote for Trump, and the Democrats still feel like there is some problems with the election, not saying there was, but if the Democrats still feel that way, and they want to have a impeachment hearing, maybe that's the time for it, but I don't know that it's the right thing to do. For, like, me personally, don't think that it's necessarily the right thing to do to try to impeach Trump in the middle of an election, because you think about it, that is in a big way like interfering with our election.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So, but another thing that I thought was really interesting about interviewing Elizabeth Warren was that I noticed that a lot of people, like, here, I'll go to this. So there is a bill working its way through. It's in the House of Representatives for now. And it was passed out of the Senate, and it was the disaster relief bill for farmers in Iowa. And I think that it also probably includes farmers in Nebraska, too. I'm not exactly sure of all the details on this bill. And it actually went to the Senate, and it passed out of the Senate, and then it went to the House of Representatives, and then it failed in committee because one of the Republicans voted against it. And she said, we need to stop playing politics. This is trying to get people help, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, at a certain point, I think that's true. I think at a certain point, we need to be able to come together and help each other. Like, for example, where I am originally from, actually just got hit with an EF4 tornado last night.
Wow.
30 minutes from where I'm from. And all I've seen on my Facebook is all these people getting out from all over the community because it hit right in the corner where 3 counties meet. And everybody from all the counties coming out and together and supporting each other. And so, like, I agree there is a time that we need to move past it. But she constantly was harping on, this is caused by climate change. This is caused by climate change. And it's just so frustrating because it's like, okay, can't we just, like, make this about the fact that, like, we're on the precipice of a major financial disaster?
Right. Let's focus on the most important thing right now rather than some other politically charged stuff.
And, she had this video in our port, which our port, like, we have a beautiful riverfront, okay? We have a flood wall, but the flood wall actually, I think, makes the riverfront more beautiful. That's my opinion. I didn't see it before, but I think that it makes it for a really beautiful river walk. But there's also extensions in our flood wall that raise the protections from 22 feet up to 27 feet, I believe, 26, 27 feet.
Okay.
And those are currently in, so you cannot see the river unless you are like 4 or 5 streets up. Because Burlington is kind of the entire thing is shaped like this.
Right.
So unless you're like up here, you can't see the river. And we also have, the HESCO barriers that failed in Davenport.
You said what now?
Do you remember when Davenport, Iowa flooded about a month ago?
Yeah. So
we also have the barriers that they use in Davenport that it's gone back and forth of whether there was a levee breach or whether the waters just overtopped whether they overtopped the barriers. It's kind of gone back and forth on that. But so we have all of these barriers filled with sand, and we have the wall, and our riverfront looks absolutely like atrocious. Like you can tell that we're in the middle of a flood. And rather than going and saying, hey, these people need help, she goes, hey, this is all caused by climate change.
That's crazy.
And I'm just like, wow, you could take that moment right there. You could take that moment. You could have recorded that video and used that video to blast the Republican that wasn't voting for this bill that, by the way, is going to help the entire country, not just the farmers, because we're headed for, honestly, ABL, let me tell you this. We are headed for a major, major financial problem in the fall if farmers do not get help.
Well, I think there was a bill for the farmers. It was like, I think it's like 200 billion. I'm not quite sure about the number. Don't quote me on that. Yeah. But there is a bill right now. But I don't mean to cut you right here, Leia. This has been a great call. I'm proud of you for getting these interviews, for doing your job over there. Chuck Grass, I'm a big fan of his. I have a video on my Instagram of his that went viral when they were talking about that whole situation. So, yeah, love Chuck Grassley. And, hey, I'm glad you're doing great out there. So, I appreciate you calling.
I'll try to check in more from time to time, especially because I'm thinking that I'm probably going to be seeing a lot more presidential candidates as I'm starting to take over the political side of government and not just the local government side.
Hey, that sounds great to me. Glad to hear it.
All right, bye, ABL.
All right, take care. All right, thank you to Leia for the call. Leia, hey, I'm proud. You know, she's been a regular caller, but been very busy. Now you're interviewing Elizabeth Warren, Chuck Grassley. You guys, if you're on my Instagram, you saw this video right here of Chuck Grassley. I'm not going to play it for the sake of time, but you might recognize it. Hold on, not this. Wrong one. There we go. Yeah, so this video right here where he was talking about the mainstream media, about how they couldn't get their way and they're mad, this, that, and the third. And he had that epic walk away. Yeah, so shout out to Chuck Grassley and shout out to everybody, you know, out there doing big things like Leia. But let me get to the next call. And I have like 6 calls in the queue, so I'm going to try to get through all of them pretty quickly here. So y'all just hang tight, please. All righty, let's go. Okay. Nippin', what's going on?
Not much. How you doing?
Everything's good, man. Can't complain.
Yep. Now, over here, the Brexit party, they're terrifying everyone. The left is terrified. And you know what? I'm proud of that.
Now, do you think they'll be able to win come prime minister election time?
I hope so.
So, like, they just won recently. What was that particular win for?
It was the European elections.
So, is that for the European Union?
Yeah.
Now, how does that work? Do you guys send, like is it kind of like how we have over here? You send senators to D.C.? Is that kind of how it is?
I don't know. Maybe.
Okay.
And, yeah, that's that for my side of the aisle. Well, my side of the ocean, should I say.
Right.
Now, MLK allegations. Now, the Democrats will obviously try to bring this whole Me Too narrative into this because he was a Republican. So, of course, they're going to try and ruin his legacy one way or another.
Right, of course. Yeah, but see, I don't even understand, like, you know, like I don't know what the spin is going to be for this, because if it were a white conservative that put the information out there, they would say, oh, it's racist, it's that, and the third. But now you got this really liberal guy putting it out there. I don't know what they're going to do.
Is he white?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, carry on.
But nah, that was pretty much it. He's a big time liberal guy, so I'm not really sure what the spin is going to be now that he is out there and he's putting information out there. But I don't think it'll affect his legacy at all. You may have some liberals.
I hope not.
Nah, it won't. You may have some liberals.
But then again, liberals will do anything to ruin a Republican's legacy.
But see, now they're going to deal with the black community, because in the black community, he's not viewed as some kind of outcast. People love Martin Luther King. So if you try to get rid of Martin Luther King, like if you tried to remove his monuments, his statues, they got the big statue in D.C. that just built recently. So if you try to tear that down, that's going to be a big time problem. That's going to cause a racial incident, and it's going to be international. People see that all over the world.
Well, what do you think would happen if you told a Black Lives Matter activist that Martin Luther King would not support your ideas? And the fact that he would support Trump. Well, he'd be wearing this very hat if he was still alive.
Well, Black Lives Matter, I don't know what's going on with them. You got a bunch of LGBTQIA people over there that are just totally wild. So I have no idea what they would say. But the average black person, I'm not really sure how well that would go. That might not be a good thing to do.
Yeah, and then, yeah, they would probably They would probably be in denial, actually.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah.
And then there's the Clarence Thomas issue. Now, same thing. If it was a white guy who said it, they'd be saying, "Oh, he's a racist. He's a Nazi. He's a this. He's a that."
Absolutely.
But since Clarence Thomas is black, they're going a little more lenient on him.
They can't really say much. What they're trying to do is do like what they do to Ben Carson. They try to question his mental ability. Oh, he doesn't understand what he's doing. He doesn't know what's going on. They try to like baby him because they can't call him a racist like they would do to a straight white male.
Yeah.
Right.
So
go ahead.
Would you run for any office?
I get asked that question.
Governor of Tennessee, like state senator, or even like local.
I get asked that question a lot, and I think that I have to eventually. I think I might just be called to duty. So if that is in the cards for me, then I'm with it. I'm not going to really fight that too much. So that could happen in the future for sure.
Yeah, and there's one thing I forgot to say. I forgot to ask. Yeah. Speaking about the LGBT thing, you can I've said this so many times. You can identify as whatever you want. You can even identify as a Diet Coke. But your biological gender will not change. It's as simple as that.
It's very simple. Either you're XX or XY.
Now this trans male or female, I don't know. I don't care. Learning how to shave.
Yeah, that was crazy. You saw that?
I was listening to it in my car.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I couldn't watch it because I was concentrating on driving.
Right, but yeah, that was wild. I mean, it was okay. So this person has taken hormones to grow facial hair, and then they were in the bathroom shaving with a hoodie on. It's like, wait, what is this? And it's this from Gillette. Gillette already had a problem with the whole men are trash kerfuffle from a little while ago. Then they went and put this out there. I'm not sure what the actual goal is here. To get more attention or to just ruin their brand? I don't understand. Maybe both.
I always shave using a razor.
Yeah, but I can't because of the way my hair is. Because your hair, you got smoother hair than I do. My hair is rougher, so it just.
You've never met me.
I could see your hair in your head. I could see you. I mean, but nah, like it's a smoother, but my hair. Black men's hair is rougher and it'll curl under your skin. So most of us, we don't really shave with a razor. And if we do, that's when you get razor bumps and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think I don't remember. I use a Mac 2 or a Mac 3 Gillette.
Yeah, I can't do
that. I shave.
Yeah, I can't use them. That'll turn my face on up. That I'd be looking like Nestle Crunch over here.
Yeah, if I don't shave for 3 or 4 days, you'll see it will be this bit here would be much darker.
Right. Yeah, I know you Indian guys, you grow that hair pretty quick, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it's faster than blacks or I don't. Yeah, but it happens with Indians too.
Yeah.
Now, there was this abortion thing going on. What of it?
I can't see the topics. Hold on. Abortion. I don't know. That was Clarence Thomas.
Someone was talking about. Yeah.
That was Clarence Thomas because he had this. He gave a 20-page opinion about how abortion and eugenics were linked to each other.
Yeah, and this whole treatment towards people with Down syndrome in Scandinavia, it's horrible. I mean, I have special needs of my own, and I know a lot of people who have Down syndrome. It's a hard life for them.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a hard life, but I think that everybody deserves a chance at life.
That's how the Nazis started.
That's right.
First they say, just keep it in the womb, just leave it there and abort it. Then that's how they started. That's how they started all their mass murders.
Right.
Yeah, and now People don't realize that abortion takes more lives than they realize. Abortion equals terrorism. I'm sorry, there's no other way to put it.
Hey, I'm with you right there. It most certainly does. But
And
go
now
ahead.
there's the GoFundMe border wall. I've heard that, I think it was a company Steve Bannon was part of that.
I'm not
is
sure.
funding it.
I'm not sure if Bannon was part of it, but you have Brian Colfitch, who's a triple amputee from over. He did some servicing overseas, and you also have Chris Kobach. They were involved with it together. They had a GoFundMe page to try and raise money to build the wall because Congress was dragging their feet with funding it.
Kobach, he's the former governor of Kansas, isn't he?
I think so, but they raised $20 million. They could not give it to the government. So at a certain point, they were going to give all the people their money back. But they found a way to fund the border construction privately rather than going through the government. So they've been able to build a half-mile stretch in New Mexico, which is right next to El Paso, and they're about 80% done. The mayor there has tried to block it. Huh?
Wicked as in like it's a well done. It's an English expression of saying that's awesome.
Oh, okay. Now the mayor, the mayor there has tried to block it, talking about you can't have fences that go above 6 feet. But we're gonna get beyond that. It's already 80% done, so it's no big deal.
I'm sorry, mayor versus president. It's trying to put a local mayor against the president of the United States is like taking a pen to a gunfight.
That's right. That's right on it. But I got to get to a few more calls here because the phone lines are still jumping. I got a little bit of time left.
Yeah, the Mueller statement. That's what I.
Okay, we talk about that next time.
Yeah. Remind me to talk about that next.
If I remember our match.
Yeah. I'll try to remember myself.
Okay.
So it was nice speaking to you.
As always, man, and I will talk to you next time. I appreciate the call.
See you on Sunday.
All righty, I'll see you then.
Yeah, Sunday my time, Saturday yours.
Saturday my time, that's right.
I just didn't want to get it mixed up.
Right. All right now.
Sorry.
All right now. Peace. All right, my man, nipping for the call. Thank you for that. Okay, I'm gonna try to get to some more calls here as soon as I can. All right, what we got? Uncle Reggie, what's happening? What's going on here? Where's Uncle Reggie?
Antifa.
It's Antifa?
Mantifa.
Mantifa?
Mantifa.
Okay. Like, what's happening here? Is everything all right? What's going on?
Oh, everything's beautiful. Everything's beautiful.
Sir, why are you covering your face? I'm resist. Are you? So you're resisting right now?
I'm resisting. Yeah.
Oh, so what are you resisting, sir?
Mostly. Well, let me start from the beginning. I'm representing the middle-aged men that really don't have representation in court.
Oh, okay. We're all right. So I get it, man. Tifa, I get it.
You all right? I thought you're pretty quick. You're a sharp guy.
So you're resisting like the child support laws and stuff like that? Is that what we got going on?
No, those days are over with. I'm resisting the kids running across my lawn. More like.
Okay, I'm with you. You know, no kids running across the lawn, dropping their lollipops and all that good stuff. You know, they're probably running away from Joe Biden.
Exactly. Well, yeah. Ooh, what a weirdo. I think lawn care should be a human right.
Okay, so there should be no high grass. All the trimmers and everything should be free.
Fertilizer.
And zero-turn mowers too.
Yeah, zero to the Snap-on makes a real good one.
Hey, that sounds good to me. I mean, I'm with you, man. I'm gonna join the movement. I'm gonna join the resistance.
Resist. I'm a little upset today. Comrade fell. He seems he set himself on fire. and he was resisting. He's resisting water.
Yeah, I see that. I see that the water was resisting him. He was just walking around like there was nothing going on, like the Human Torch. That's like, sir, you're not in the movie. This is not the X-Men. You are a human being. You're going to burn, and it's going to be painful.
Yeah, it looked like that Nicolas Cage character when he was walking around. He had the motorcycle,
Yeah, a Ghost Rider.
There you go. It looked like the Ghost Rider, except he was walking on foot.
Yeah, that was absolutely crazy. So, hey, I don't know what happened. He just kind of got a little bit too radicalized. He wanted some of that good grass to be cut, some of that died to be on his grass. So he got the brown grass, and he just went a little bit over the edge. So hopefully, he gets himself back together.
It looked like he was walking towards the White House, the fountain in the White House, which is filled with liberal tears, by the way.
That's right, 100%. And no, the crazy part is that it wouldn't have doused the flames because they're liberal proof.
I hear that. And you had a pseudo-scientist on here that's talking about the cycle of life with the reproduction and the metamorphosis and the zygote turning around and around. But it stops at Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. That's where life stops.
So, okay. That makes sense to me because they know pretty much what's going on. They know where life is and where it's not. So, hey, I can pretty much, rock with that.
Life is a continuum. When I went to college many years ago, they told me life was a continuum, that the sperm is actually alive. If they found it on Mars, they would say that's life. So the sperm, it does not start at conception. It continues at conception.
Hey,
see.
Hey, that's way to look at it.
It's one way to look at it.
No
life
doubt.
continues. So it's a cycle. It's a circle. They even told you on Lion King, for crying out loud, Anthony.
That's right. No doubt.
It's a circle. You can't stop and start a circle. There's no start.
That's right.
It started way back when, before Adam.
It's continuing. It's ongoing.
Yeah, and it's not going to stop anytime soon.
Not at all.
No. 12 years from now, it'll be in. Yeah. I got nothing else. I just wanted to say hello, resist, and believe in something, even if you got to set yourself on fire.
Thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Peace.
All right, so shout out to Mantifa Resist, aka Uncle Reggie, aka Kerplunk. Shout out to my man for calling, and shout out to the super chatters. Shout out to BDB who says, I don't believe the MLK allegations. It did the same thing to JFK and Lincoln. They are liars and crooks, in my humble opinion, or in my opinion. Now they have audio, deep fake. Hey, there could be some deep fake stuff going on because you got old speeches. You can just compile some stuff and make something up. Good point. Thank you to Elijah Gene Williams who says, you are an inspiration. Kudos for your patience. Thank you for the compliment and your donation. Definitely appreciate you. Thank you to Oliver who says, good work, ABL. I'm very proud of all black conservatives. I appreciate that, man. Thank you for your donation. Most certainly appreciate it. Thank you to Snap Turtle who says, thanks for the convo. What do you think about voluntary society? That's what I'm learning. That's what I'm leaning toward. It'd be difficult to set up, but it's true freedom. Let me know what you think. I don't know much about that right there, but I'm just thinking off of what little bit that I think I know. It'd be about everybody just it'd be like anarchy. No government, people just volunteering to do certain things and adhering to certain principles. That's hard to do. I mean, you got to have some kind of police there to manage stuff. Big population, diverse population is very hard to do. If you have a very small, homogenous society, it's easier to do it because you don't have so many conflicting interests involved. But thank you for your donation and your question. And shout out to Tsunami who says, I would welcome the interference. It's not Trump's duty to monitor that. It's the existing office jobs to stop that. Wanting is not collusion, obstructing. Very good point. And thank you for your donation. Definitely appreciate you. Alrighty. Let's get to my next call here. Alrighty. Hold on. Can I click the button? All right, caller, you on the line, 617.
Hey, ABL.
What's happening?
This is Al. Hey, man. You were just saying about, you were just talking about anarchy, and one of the things that that makes me like my ideology, like what I think is, because I'm a libertarian, but the thing that keeps me from being an anarcho-capitalist is exactly what you said. Like I've been thinking about, because what a lot of anarcho-capitalists always say is they're like, voluntarism and that the government is basically just violence in any way, and I get that, but what to me, what happened in an anarcho-capitalist society is basically whoever has all the guns are going to have everything.
That's right. That's how that works. Because
you know what I mean?
It's like if you have a society like the United States, that's what it's going to be. There's too many people, too much money, too many conflicting interests. That's what it's going to be. You're going to have a lawless nation be ruled by those who have the most force. If you can have a very small population of people up in the mountains somewhere where it's homogenous, you can do some, you don't need any kind of government for that. But for a big society, you got to have some kind of government, some kind of order.
Right. Because it would just come down to, because you have to protect your stuff somehow. Because it's like utopian ideal on the other side, on the right side. Because what a lot of times they'll say is something like, a society in which everyone freely, interacts and without violence, and that's all nice, but there are bad people out there. Like that's the thing they're not taking into account. Is that there's lots of bad people out there, and then the innocent or the more weaker people aren't going to be able to defend themselves. So it really is just a utopian thing,
Right.
So what I wanted to ask you about, I might not get to everything, so just cut me off when you need to. But so a while back, you had the caller that called in about the transgender stuff, where she's talking about, or he was talking about, the bathrooms and stuff. Do you remember that caller?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the thing. He said this thing about capitalism. He's saying like boycotting Chick-fil-A. It's interesting to me that now you're all for capitalism when you boycott a business, but when it comes down to the business's right to choose who they do business with, or who they reject services to, now he wants the government to come in and tell them.
Right. That's a very good point.
Right, because I understand. Think about Jim Crow laws, or not Jim Crow, the segregation laws, right? Like where people couldn't black and white people couldn't eat in the same restaurant together. They had to be segregated. That was a law that was in place.
Correct.
There shouldn't be laws like that. That's the problem. Is there's too many laws. So if there was what I believe in, I think. So first, I want to ask you this: where in the Constitution is there some place in the Constitution that says that this protected class thing? Is that in the Constitution, or are these just bills or laws or something that are like extra?
Just extra stuff. Sometimes it's just case law where a judge decided it. Sometimes it's a law that got passed by a lawmaker. We ain't talking about the constitutional stuff. Right. Okay. Just wanted to make sure, because that's what I thought. So what's unconstitutional is what people need to get away from this idea that we need the government to tell people how to conduct their business. Because look, the free market will fix it. Because if you have a business that says no blacks, I'm just going to use that as an example because it applies to everything, whether they're gay or transgender or what. It says no blacks. There's no way I would go and eat there. And it's the same thing. People would see that, and that business would not thrive. It would die off. And so the free market would fix it. We don't need laws saying that you can't discriminate against a black person. If there's businesses that are going to discriminate against a black person, like they don't serve blacks or whatever, that business isn't going to last. That's correct. That's what I was trying to explain to the person. It's like, at a certain point, the free market is going to speak for itself. If they feel like your restaurant is, doing a disservice to people, is not right, it's racist, then they're not gonna go there anymore, and you're gonna go out of business. That's the way it should be, rather than telling the government have all these rules and regulations on their back that they gotta adhere to.
Right, because then this is what's happening is now everything you can think of, every crazy person. I'm not saying transgenders are crazy or anybody's crazy, but any crazy person that wants to come up with something, now I'm this thing, and now I want to protect it. It just will never end. And it's going to have all these laws on the books, and it's just going to oppress everybody.
That's right.
Okay, so I wanted to just ask you two questions, really, about a little bit of a civics thing. So I noticed this thing that's happening where they're trying to take Donald Trump off the ballot in a few of these very liberal states. Have you heard about that?
Yeah, I have heard about that.
Okay, so what's going on there? The states are trying to, like, what's your take on that? Because I just don't even get how they get off even doing that.
I'm not sure how they're going to actually get away with that, or if it can actually be done. I'm hearing it being proposed, just like they're trying to propose the whole, the electoral college thing. Like they're not they're not gonna vote for who their state voted for if it's different than the person who won the popular vote. But see, that'd be a court battle. They won't be able to implement that until after the court battle is over, which they'll lose. And as far as the ballot, I'm not sure how that's going to work. That's going to be a thing that I want to kind of keep my eye on here. But I'm kind of running out of time. I'm sorry, but I thank you for the call. Definitely appreciate you.
Okay, man. Talk to you soon.
All right, thank you. All right, shout out to the caller. Let me get to the next call here. 910, you're on the line. Who am I speaking to?
Hey, what's up, ABL? Sean Mayer from North Carolina.
Hey, what's going on, man? Everything's good over here.
Good. So I'm gonna be honest. I'm kind of coming into the Mueller Report a little bit blind. I chose not to really get into it today just because of everything that's going on. It's just seeing the reactions kind of from the never Trumper side of things. I'm digging my heels deeper into Trump's 2020 campaign. I mean, it's like the question I have, and one of the things that people can't answer is obstruction of justice possible when the entire case that it was formed around had nefarious beginnings? Like, it was, if the entire investigation is suspect, then how can somebody be charged with collusion or obstruction in a case that was formed in a suspect way?
I mean, I don't know how the case was formed. I don't know how that would affect any
that was Peter Strzok and Lisa Page. Peter Strzok, the leader of the Clinton investigation, who also started the investigation into Trump-Russia collusion through the Steele dossier.
Right, but I'm not really sure how that would affect the findings. I'm not really sure how that's going to work. Because
I'm just saying, if their entire formation of the case was ill-gotten and unlawful, I feel like everything according to that case has to be thrown out.
I mean, it does make sense because it's just like if you search somebody's home and you found some drugs, but you had no warrant, then you can't use the drugs in the case. Right.
That's kind of exactly what I was going with. Like, if a cop does not have a warrant and does a search and seizure without a warrant, then that case is pretty much gonna be thrown out. I mean, from the reaction, it just seems like Bob Mueller made his report, and now it's up to if they want to proceed, it's gonna have to be Democrats have to proceed with anything further, any other action after this. I mean, do you think Bob Mueller had enough time and resources to fully investigate this matter?
You're right. Yeah, talking about what, $35 million over 2 years. I mean, he had
2,015 years.
Oh, it was crazy. He had so much. It's like impossible for him to have any more. So
like I don't even know how many hours of testimony from various people. Good God! But yeah, it's just I'm digging just through this whole Michigas. I do try to be a little bit dubious of everybody, including Trump, but like this whole thing, the investigation, how it started, everything leading up to this point is just making me dig further into Trump 2020. I mean, who else is it going to be?
Right. That's a good question.
Yeah. But, yeah, you have a good night, ABL. Thanks for taking the call.
All right, thank you for the call, man. Definitely appreciate you.
Yep. Have a good one.
All right. Shout out to the caller. Most certainly appreciate him. And thank you all for calling. If I couldn't get you on tonight, I'm sorry. I got time for about 2 more calls. We're about 10 minutes to 11 p.m. Eastern time. And we've been here since 8 p.m. Eastern time. I'll be back, of course, with another live show on Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern time to 11 p.m. Eastern time. And I got videos all throughout the week. If you've not liked the video yet, please do so. Give me a like, a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. Also, please share the video. That'd be fantastic. Shout out to No Good who says rap sweep. Hey, that could happen. It'd be better for everybody if the Raptors win. I'll talk about that in a little bit after I get done with my next call. All right, caller, who we got?
Hello, I was going to wish you a pleasant evening, but I'm very worried about the tenor of the conversation. So I think you must know me. This is Brian Stelter of CNN's Reliable Sources. How are you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Oh, I was just catching the first day of the WNBA regular season, as I'm sure all of you are.
I had no idea that was going on. I was watching the playoffs in the NBA.
Oh, the playoffs. So, well, whatever. Anyway, I think you should be ashamed of the show that you put on and the way that you, as a person who represents an endangered community, you enable this horrible person who is destroying all the norms that our country was built on, that have brought us this far under our previous president, Kenyan Jesus.
Wow. in danger? Are we like the black rhino or something? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, essentially you're like the manatee, but, with much shallower water and a lot more motorboats in there.
Wow. Okay, I didn't know that was the case. So I'm glad you've been able to inform me, Mr. Brian Stelter, Little Brian. And as far as the Kenyan Jesus, I'm not sure who that is. I know about Barack Obama, if you're referring to him.
I'm sorry, American Jesus. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I heard Kenyan, but we'll just bypass that, and I pretend I didn't hear it. American Jesus, okay.
Yes, I'll issue a correction later.
Okay, I'm sure you will. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Barack Obama. He didn't do much for America. He put us in a kind of weird situation, and I'm glad that we have Donald Trump in there right now. He's your president as he is mine. How you feel about that?
I tell people how I feel about it every week, and every week it just gets worse and worse. And then people, they like to ridicule me and spread videos of me with all sorts of ridiculous things that they try to play off of, little insecurities of mine about my voice and the fact that I don't have any hair and I kind of look like some sort of static on the screen. But I still keep doing my job, and I wish people like you would actually pay attention to what we're exposing on CNN, the most trusted name in news.
CNN, I mean, you guys constantly get things wrong. You're constantly anti-Trump. It's a mess. And you know what? I was watching Roland Martin, out of all people in the world. He had this guy on there, a black guy, that was saying CNN does not allow anybody on there that is not a homosexual black male. They only allow homosexual black males, no heterosexual black males. And if you support anything beyond Barack Obama to the 100th power, you would not be on there anymore. So you have a big problem with bias over at your network and false information.
That's a ridiculous theory. How are we supposed to know that? Do we have Terry Crews talent manager checking who these people are before we hire them?
Hey, I don't know. Maybe they got to identify as what they are before they come onto the set. You know, maybe that's what's going on. It could be a casting couch. Who knows?
Anthony, I don't know why you have to impugn the integrity of the very successful network known as CNN.
Hey, CNN, you guys are not doing a very good job keeping your name out there as a reputable source of information. People are looking at you guys as a joke. I mean, it's really a shame.
No, millions of Americans tune into us every day in order to get their moral compass recalibrated. How are you saying that?
I think that you got a lot of people that are looking at you from used car dealerships, old folks' homes, McDonald's, places where they really have no choice, captive audiences, if you will. Nobody's tuning into CNN like, hey, let me just watch this fantastic network for my news every day.
Well, where's the evidence that we're doing so bad?
You know, the ratings, the opinion on social media, the opinion in the street. You guys just aren't doing a good job. The laying off of plenty of employees.
Layoffs? Don't talk to me about layoffs. Layoffs? I just want to have one of my testes descend finally. Layoffs? ABL, I'm really upset. Here, Don Lemon, take the phone.
Oh boy. Is this okay? We got Don. What's going on?
Hello, ABL.
Sir, I'm not really feeling the seductive voice.
You're not feeling it? You don't want to be an ally?
I'm not.
Are you playing Kevin Hard to get?
I'm not, sir. I'm good money.
ABL, you will comply. This is CNN.
I think you guys need to just go ahead and get off the air. Try something else. Don, you can go on RuPaul's Drag Race and live your best life.
All right, I have to go. I have to go talk to Cory Booker about our names.
All right.
All right, have a good night, sir.
All right now.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so shout out to Brian Stelter and also Don Lemon for calling in. You know, sometimes I get celebrities to call into the show. You know, it is what it is. So shout out to everybody that has called in tonight. I got time for one more, I think, maybe. Super chat. Did I get everybody? Yes, I did. Thank you to Kevin Duggan for the donation. Definitely appreciate you. Let me get to my next call here. Alrighty, you're on the call. You're on the line 956.
Yes, I made it. Thank you. I've been that person in the chat who has been trying to stress out the last 2 or 3 hours to call you, and I'm that same person who cheer you up in the O'Shea Duke Jackson battle. First off, I want to say props to you, my man, but for being calm in the Rumble. Can I give you a round of applause?
Hey, go for it, man. I appreciate it.
All right, but I still got some things I want to get out of my chest. So yeah, you know what? You were calm. You were trying to prove your points. The only tip I could give you is just to expand your horizons as much as possible, so you don't look like you're regurgitating talking points. But hey, you were calm. You didn't call. You like. See, this is what leftists do when they argue. They get emotional, and they start, thinking they won the battle. But you, sir, and they. You know what's funny? You would think that if conservatives were so deranged and so emotional and so, irritable, that I would have expected you to what's the name of that dude? Information Man, correct?
Yeah, Information Man.
I would have expected you to call him a libtard, a sellout, this and that. But you, sir, you were calm for the remainder of the time. I'm impressed that you could handle that much heat.
I appreciate that, man. It's just how I operate. And, I think that people are able to look on the outside and see who has the better temperament, the better argument, and who's overall just behaving better. So I try to set that good example.
Yeah, man. I mean, you've set a good example, and you know what? Proud of it. And we'll continue to see you in many more O'Shea Duke podcasts if you're gonna continue being part of them.
Oh yeah, I'll be there.
Oh yeah, this made me want to see you in there more, man. Proud of you. All right, what I want to get off of my chest. So, are you familiar with a political figure? He's a youth figure. Keep in mind, he's 17, turning 18, I think. No, or 16, turning 17. Are you familiar with C.J. Pearson?
Yeah.
Yeah, black young conservative.
That's right. Yeah, CJ. I know who he is.
Yeah. Not only is he black, he's a youth representative. You know, the left is desperate to see more youth participating in politics, but but the left cannot go against him because he's a youth and he's African American. Now, about him, he tried to do this counter argument that apparently abortions are being done in the name of animal rights. What do you think about that?
I don't know what's going on with that, the context of it. Like, I had to look into and see what's going on. Animal rights? I don't understand the context.
Well, he didn't say that himself, but he posted a link saying that in some places you can get worse penalties for killing a turtle, let's say, than for aborting a fetus.
Yeah, 100% correct. Like, if you have, if you possess certain endangered species of bird, that's a felony offense. A felony just for possessing, like an endangered egg of a certain eagle. You can go to jail for that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for combating animal cruelty too, but we need to value all life equally. See, the left does this hierarchy, and I'm kind of surprised they put animals into the hierarchy. When did animals become more valuable in terms of life than, let's say, I don't know, human beings as a whole? Not even talking about certain groups of people. When did that happen? I don't understand. So it's an animal. My question is, so now an animal is more oppressed than a black person? Since, never mind the fact that dinosaurs ruled the world before us?
Right.
Is that what?
Yeah.
No, you go ahead, man.
No, it's pretty crazy. Like, this whole thing, people just have their moral compass and their actual brain in the wrong place. Because if you have just even the egg of a bald eagle, that could potentially be a felony, $250,000 fine. So it's crazy how that is so protected, but human life is not as protected.
All right, let me respond to a comment. William Labvan, I'm going to respond to users because people aren't endangered. Okay, people may not be endangered, but that still doesn't mean you have to set a bias of preferring animals over humans. What kind of ridiculous doctrine is that? I mean, are we gonna say now children are more valuable than, I don't know, adults too next, despite adults being more likely to be put on a dangerous pedestal than children, whereas children are protected class? Like, I don't understand this protected status hierarchies that the left does.
Here's an article right here I just found. It says 3 men face felony charges in killing of endangered pupfish in Death Valley. So this little teeny fish, small fish, they're facing felony charges for that. But a baby, you can just abort at 8 months gestation in some places, and there's no problem. It's crazy.
Right, especially if it's an autistic baby or a black baby or, I don't know, whatever. Or a poor baby. There we go. A baby born into poverty. You see, so the left wants to apply oppression dynamics into that. Why don't we, see who's more oppressed in between those three and an animal, right?
That's right.
And okay, last 2 more things. I'll get on my chest.
Well, I got time for one more thing.
All right, one more thing. Let's go. All right. What now? Looking at MLK's allegations, do you think Me Too went from vilifying, because I know Me Too started to vilify white men first, but do you think Me Too is now trying to use black men as their, I guess you can say, their weaponization fuel?
I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure if that's the case as it relates to MLK. I think MLK's case is the fact that the guy that wrote his book back in the day is trying to make some more money, and he must have come out here with something else.
But I'm just saying, it's interesting seeing how a lot of black male celebrities are just being put on a pedestal all of a sudden by Me Too, even though you won't see Me Too really go after the real misogyny in rap music, in hood culture. And by the way, I do hate when people bring that argument, because let's face it, it goes to show, this is when I say toxic masculinity is a white man's problem merely. Not trying to say that not all men are under attack, or are by threat of vilification, but like the feminists keep I guess you could say, they have a preference over who gets to be vilified and who doesn't. It's ridiculous. Just call out all men at once, you know? And as more men of other class continue being vilified, men have to learn how to just become less tribalistic and be loyal to their gender. What do you think about that?
I mean,
should men just form a brotherhood?
That's kind of a deep question right there, and I'm kind of running out of time right now. So I thank you for the call, man.
Yeah, all right. I'll ask you some other time. Thank you, man.
All right, thank you. All right, shout out to the caller. I'm sorry that I was not able to get to everybody, but I gotta go. Gotta go right now because I'm past my time and I gotta be on point. So thank y'all for being here. Definitely appreciate you. I'll return with a live show on Saturday. What's that going to be? June 1st at 8 p.m. Eastern to 11 p.m. Eastern. And all the super chats I got, did I get everybody? Shout everybody out. Oh, no good. Raptors. I don't know about sweeping the Warriors, but I think the Raptors are going to win. Although I'm a Bucks fan and I'm mad that the Raptors won, but it's all right. Shout out to the Raptors. Shout out to Toronto. No looking if you in there. Shout out to Toronto. All right. But is that everybody? I think we're good to go. So thank y'all for joining. Definitely appreciate it. Shout out to all the mods. Liza Jean, Ansel, Bill from the Hills, Protocol, Shreeves, T-Pain, of course, the boss. Shout out to everybody. And is all I got? Yeah, that is all I got. Oh, you guys, if you want to join a Discord, which is like a free chat service, you're free to do so. It's open to all you guys. It's in the description box. It is a free service. So you guys in the chat right now talking to each other, you can continue that if you want to over on the Discord. And again, that is in the description box below. That's all I got for now. So until next time, y'all be safe. I'm out and peace.